Chronicles of the Rise of a Cultivation Family. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 226 Side Selection. Yun Yongzhu did not go home directly after leaving the mission hall, but used the flying skill to fly to a higher position in Yunwu Mountain. He will start building a cave tomorrow, but the location of his cave has not been decided yet. The total height of Yunwu Mountain is about 2,000 feet, which is more than 6,600 meters. There are 6 spiritual veins on the mountain, one each of the 2nd grade upper grade, 2nd grade lower grade, 1st grade upper grade, and 1st grade middle grade, and 2 of the 1st grade lower grade. These spiritual veins are also the most precious wealth and heritage of the Yun family. The 2nd grade spiritual veins are on both sides of the Yunwu Mountain. Only the 2 foundation building elders in the family are qualified to build their own caves on these 2 spiritual veins. Others can only practice in Yongzhu Cave when they break through and spend family contribution points. Yongzhu Cave is built on the 2nd grade lower grade spiritual vein, and it is the location of a spiritual cave, which is particularly suitable for practice and breakthrough. All spiritual veins, regardless of grade, have a limited number of spiritual caves, and these spiritual caves are deep in the earth veins and are not easy to search, so most cultivators usually practice on spiritual veins. Although the spiritual energy contained in the spiritual vein is not as pure as the spiritual energy gushing out of the spiritual cave, the amount of spiritual energy is sufficient. Yun Yongzhu's flight speed is very fast. It took him about a quarter of an hour to reach the top of Yunwu Mountain from the mission hall. At this time, when he looked down the mountain, he could no longer see the farmland and houses below the mountain, nor the monks' caves, family ancestral halls, mission halls and other buildings below. He could only see the endless hazy clouds. Then there was a large area of lush vegetation under him. Although there were many ordinary flowers and trees among these vegetation, there were also many spiritual plants and trees. Before, there were only 2 foundation building masters, Yun Yongzhu and Yun Yongzhu, in the Yun family of Yunwu Mountain. This large area of spiritual land on the 2nd level spiritual vein would not be left vacant, so many spiritual trees and plants were planted on it and allowed to grow naturally. After more than 200 years, these spiritual plants have grown up and become somewhat mature. He hovered in the air, took out the jade slip that his father Yun Dachan had written for him, and probed into it with his spiritual consciousness. He could see a lifelike hill in the jade slip. The hill in the jade slip was exactly the model of Yunwu Mountain. Only 4 places on the hill were relatively clear, and the rest were hazy. Yun Yongzhu searched around the Yunwu Mountain according to the location marked in the jade slip, and soon found the location of a spiritual cave marked in the jade slip. Yun Yongzhu just looked in the air and went to find the next location. He didn't return to the previous location until he had seen all the locations of the spiritual caves marked in the jade slip. There was no other reason. Yun Yongzhu chose this location just because it was more open, the land was flat, the flowers and trees were sparse, and there was a stream not too deep or too shallow not far away, flowing all the way down the mountain. After Yun Yongzhu determined the location of his cave, he took out a high-grade magic weapon with a faint red spiritual light from his storage bag. It was his fire snake sword magic weapon. He used his spiritual sense to control the fire snake sword to float in front of him, and then input spiritual power into it. The fire snake sword suddenly overflowed with spiritual light and emitted a magnificent light. Yun Yongzhu felt that the power of the fire snake sword had increased greatly and was about to reach its limit. He quickly stopped inputting spiritual power and instead pinched a sword control technique. Go. Yun Yongzhu put his right index finger and middle finger together to form a sword. The object control technique controlled the fire snake sword to fly towards the trees on the ground. The fire snake sword was like a real fire snake, sliding through the roots of the trees and then flying back to Yun Yongzhu's palm from a distance. Because there were still spiritual trees among these trees, not all of them fell. Yun Yongzhu spent half an hour to clear an area, and then he put the fire snake sword back into his storage bag. Hundreds of trees were lying on the ground in all directions, and dust was flying everywhere. Yun Yongzhu certainly would not let the dust hit him. He made several hand seals in succession, and then sent a ball of spiritual power to the sky. Yunwu Mountain suddenly attracted a lot of spiritual energy from the sky, and then formed a large dark cloud. Then raindrops fell from the dark cloud, and a drizzle fell. It took only half a minute to destroy the dust like a huge wave. Seeing this, Yun Yongzhu sent her spiritual power to the dark cloud, dispersing the dark cloud, and ending the heavy rain. Only then did he land from the sky. As soon as he landed, he clearly felt a strong spiritual power surrounding him. Yun Yongzhu sighed comfortably. Since leaving the sect, this was the moment when he felt most comfortable. This world is actually full of spiritual energy everywhere, even in the mortal world. It's just that in the blessed land of immortal mountains with spiritual veins, the concentration of spiritual energy is higher, which is more helpful for the cultivation of cultivators. In Yun Yongzhu's short life of 29 years, the place where he felt the highest concentration of spiritual energy was in his master Huang Changsheng's practice room, which was the spiritual cave of the third level middle grade spiritual vein. The second was his own practice room, the spiritual cave of the second level upper grade spiritual vein. Then it was here at Yunwu Mountain, the family mountain gate, on a second level lower grade spiritual vein. He absorbed spiritual energy for nearly half a quarter of an hour like a whale drinking, and then calmed down. Yun Yongzhu looked at the nearly 8 acres of shrubs and grassland, feeling that the space should be enough, and nodded with satisfaction. Then he looked for the specific location of the spiritual cave in this place. Yun Yongzhu himself certainly didn't have this ability, and now was not the time for the spiritual energy of the spiritual cave to gush out. Although his spiritual sense had a wide range, and was very sensitive, it could not penetrate the layers of veins and find the place where the spiritual cave was gushing out. He released the 5 colors that had not been released for a long time. As soon as the soul-seeking butterfly came out of the soul beast bag, it flew up and down in joy. It took a while before it returned to Yun Yongzhu's side and landed on Yun Yongzhu's outstretched arm. Okay, help me find the place with the most concentrated spiritual energy here. Even if the spiritual energy is not gushing now, it is a spiritual cave after all. Even at ordinary times, its spiritual energy concentration will be higher than other places in the spiritual vein. After understanding Yun Yongzhu's order, the soul-seeking butterfly circled around Yun Yongzhu, and then landed directly at Yun Yongzhu's feet, with its wings moving up and down, as if breathing. Yun Yongzhu couldn't help but be a little surprised. Could the place where he landed casually be the location of the spiritual cave? He communicated with the 5-colored soul-seeking butterfly with concern, and it really was the location of the spiritual cave. In this case, Yun Yongzhu directly made a mark here. From now on, this location will be the location of his training room and bedroom. He looked around and found that this place was exactly the center of the open space, which couldn't be better. Yun Yongzhu looked up at the fallen trees around him. Apart from the ordinary trees, there were only some first and second level pinewood, ironwood, sandalwood, etc. Although there were more first level trees and fewer second level trees, there were hundreds of these spiritual trees in total, and their value was not low. He took out a communication talisman and told the clan leader grandfather about his cutting down these spiritual trees. Soon Yun Shichen returned a communication talisman. Xiaojiu, you can use these pine woods as you like. It is considered as the clan's contribution to your cave house construction. If there are any surpluses, they will be handed over to your 5th grandfather. Yun Yongzhu was pleasantly surprised after hearing this. He looked at the trees all over the ground, and the storage bag could not hold them at all. Just leave them here. Anyway, no one will come to steal them, and it is just right to use these spiritual trees to build the cave house. Chapter 227, Yun Dabing. After thinking about it, Yun Yongzhu planned to go down the mountain and go home. Just when he was about to take off, he saw a female cultivator in a turquoise palace dress appear in the air. She looked only about 25 or 26 years old, with a beautiful appearance, but her cultivation had reached the 9th level of key training. Yun Yongzhu was very surprised that there was such a young key training member in his family. He had never heard of her, and he didn't know her. Although Yun Yongzhu didn't know this female cultivator, he knew that she must be a member of the Yun family. In addition to this being the family's mountain gate, there were many auspicious cloud embroidery patterns on her palace dress, and a hairpin on her head was also made into the shape of clouds. Not long after, the female cultivator landed not far from Yun Yongzhu with her flying sword. When he got closer, Yun Yongzhu realized that the other party's spiritual power was a little weak, as if she had just advanced. She put away her flying sword and asked Yun Yongzhu rudely, "What's your name? Why are you cutting down spiritual trees on the mountain?" Yun Yongzhu was very surprised that there were still people in this Yunwu mountain who didn't recognize him. "My name is Yun Yongzhu." The female cultivator opposite heard this name, but she didn't show the reaction Yun Yongzhu imagined. "Yun Yongzhu. I seem to have heard this name somewhere before, but I can't remember it for a while. May I know who you are?" Yun Yongzhu was curious about who the other person was and why she didn't recognize him. "My name is Yun Dabing. You can just call me 17th Aunt." "Oh, I remember. You are the eldest son of the fifth brother, Zhaojiu, the one with 3 spiritual roots." Yun Dabing heard that it was a member of the young generation, so he also said his name and suddenly showed an expression of sudden enlightenment. Before Yun Yongzhu could answer, Yun Dabing asked again, "Why can't I feel your cultivation level? Have you already established your foundation, Zhaojiu?" It turned out to be her. Yun Dabing was the only one in the family with 3 spiritual roots besides him and his 8th brother Yun Yongzhu, and she was also a rare female cultivator. It turned out to be Aunt 17. Yongzhu greets Aunt 17. Although the other party was only at the 9th level of key training, she was his elder, so Yun Yongzhu still bowed to her politely. Aunt 17 was really good at taking care of herself. She was almost 40 years old, but she still looked like a little girl. Yun Yongzhu had never seen Aunt 17. The last time he heard the name of Yun Dabing was 23 years ago. At that time, Yun Yongzhu had just entered the family school and had just introduced Qi into his body. He heard from Grandpa 7 that there was a female cultivator with 3 spiritual roots in the family. Yun Yongzhu was quite curious about this 17th aunt. Unfortunately, Yun Dabing had been obsessed with cultivation since leaving the family school. She either studied planting spiritual medicines in the spiritual medicine garden or did not often walk around the mountain. Yun Yongzhu had never seen her before leaving Yunwu Mountain. Then Yun Yongzhu nodded and admitted that he had built his foundation. 17th Aunt, Zhaojiu has been building his foundation for less than 3 months. He just came back from the sect not long ago. He did not want to build his own cave at the mountain gate, so he cleared the trees here. Yun Dabing was surprised and disappointed after hearing this. "Haha, I didn't expect that our Yunwu Mountain has added a new foundation building cultivator. This is the best news I have heard since I came out of retreat. But I was born 10 years earlier than you, but you have walked ahead of me." 17th Aunt has also advanced to the 9th level of key training. Sooner or later, she will step into the foundation building stage. Yun Yongzhu's words were true. It just so happened that the family now had 5 foundation building pills. It was just the right time for 17th Aunt to advance to the 9th level of key training and come out of retreat. Moreover, as one of the family's foundation building talents, the family will definitely support her foundation building if conditions permit. It's hard to say. I have just entered the 9th level of key training, and it will take several years of hard training to complete my cultivation. Moreover, without the help of foundation building spiritual objects, whether I can build my foundation depends on my chance and luck. Yun Dabing obviously did not have any hope that the family would arrange foundation building objects for her. Even if she no longer cared about worldly affairs, she knew a little about the family's predicament. The family could help her reach the 9th level of key training at the age of 40. Yun Yongzhu thought for a while and said, 17th Aunt, haven't you been down the mountain for a long time? I think the family can help you a lot with your foundation building. I came back from the sect and brought back a few foundation building pills. The elders of the family are discussing the exchange plan for the foundation building pills. Taking the foundation building pill does not mean that the cultivator will definitely succeed in building the foundation, but it means that the success rate of the cultivator's foundation building is several times higher. Moreover, even if the foundation building fails, after taking the foundation building pill, there will be no worry about life, and you can impact the foundation building realm again. After all, the 17th aunt Yun Dabing has the qualifications of 3 spiritual roots. Giving her the foundation building pill is much safer than giving it to other members of the clan. Her chance of successfully building a foundation is also greater than that of other members of the clan with mixed spiritual roots. Currently, there are only 3 foundation building seedlings in the clan, namely Yun Dabing, Yun Yongzhu, and Yun Yongzhu. Therefore, Yun Yongzhu did not hide the matter of the foundation building pill from her. Moreover, when the elders have agreed on the exchange terms of the foundation building pill, they will definitely inform the whole clan. Xiaojiu, are you serious? The clan has the foundation building pill you brought back. Or how many? Seeing Yun Yongzhu nod, Yun Dabing was overjoyed and hurriedly asked Yun Yongzhu about the conditions for exchanging the foundation building pill. Yun Yongzhu also mentioned the matter of the family contribution points. 17th aunt, you must meet all the other conditions, but I don't know how many contribution points you need. Anyway, it's always right to accumulate more. Yun Dabing was happy and worried when she heard this. She has been practicing for many years. She only takes care of spiritual medicine and learns the art of spiritual plants. She has not accumulated many spiritual stones, let alone family contribution points. Thank you, Xiaojiu, for telling me about this. Congratulations on your successful foundation building. If you have nothing else to do, just keep busy. Then Yun Dabing flew down the mountain quickly. After Yun Dabing left, Yun Yongzhu did not stay here. He also flew down and returned to Xingchen Mansion. When Yun Yongzhu got home, it was just noon. Yun Daichen and his wife were preparing for dinner in the middle courtyard. Dad and Mom, I'm back. Zua, since you're here, come and eat something. Yun Yongzhu did not hesitate to be polite with his father and mother. He asked the servants to bring bowls and chopsticks, and they had dinner together. During the dinner, Yun Yongzhu talked about his encounter with 17th aunt Yun Dabing on the mountain. 17th sister? She came down the mountain? So she is now at the 9th level of key training? It turned out that Yun Dabing once said that she would not leave Yunwu Mountain until she reached the 9th level of key training. Since Yun Dabing was diagnosed with the aptitude of 3 spiritual roots, she became the only foundation building seedling in the family and was highly expected by the elders. She lived up to the expectations of the elders and practiced hard every day, determined to build a foundation. In addition to the family's regular monthly allowance, Yun Dabing also had an extra allowance of elixirs. In addition, through the joint discussion of the clan leader and the elders, she was specially allowed to practice on the 2nd level lower grade spiritual vein. Chapter 228 Making Jade Slips. Yes, 17th aunt has just advanced to the 9th level of key training. She looks really young. It only took 40 years for a person with 3 spiritual roots to cultivate to the 9th level of key training. Even with the help of elixirs and 2nd level spiritual veins, it was very fast. In Yun Yongzhu's opinion, 17th aunt's own efforts and opportunities were also indispensable. After all, he himself also had 3 spiritual roots. The reason why he was able to build a foundation before the age of 30 was that the skills, elixirs, spiritual veins, opportunities, etc. were all indispensable. Yang Liu said happily, the reason why your 17th aunt looks so young is probably related to the martial arts she practices. The soft water art seems to have the side effect of beautifying and nourishing the skin. The martial arts your mother practiced was only the part of the key training stage. Now that I've built my foundation, it's a good time for me to switch to practicing the soft water art. Son, didn't you bring back 2 5-element spirit fruits the last time you went back to the family? 17th sister happened to be practicing the soft water art. I heard that the family gave her the water spirit fruit. With the spiritual power of the water spirit fruit, your 17th aunt was able to break through from the 7th level of key training to the 8th level, and in less than 7 years, she was promoted to the 9th level of key training. So that's how it was. Yun Yongzhu suddenly realized that 17th aunt's opportunity was the 5-element water spirit fruit that he brought back to the family. No wonder Aunt 17 was able to cultivate to the 9th level of key training so quickly. Yes, it is estimated that in a few years, our Yunwu mountain will have another new foundation building cultivator. Yun Dachan was filled with emotion. His son was not only a great opportunity for the couple, but also an opportunity for the revitalization of their Yun family in Yunwu mountain. That's great. I hope that the 5 foundation building pills can successfully create 5 foundation building clan members for the family. I dare not think about it. I will be very lucky if there are 3 more clan members of the same level. Yun Yongzhu nodded repeatedly to agree with his father's statement. The last time Yun Yongzhu came back, in addition to the clan leader and elders, Yunwu Mountain had 22 clan members in the late stage of key training. In just 6 or 7 years, due to the improvement of the family's finances and the implementation of policies, Yunwu Mountain has added 5 new clan members in the late stage of key training. But among these 27 clan members, there are only 7 who have reached the 9th level of key training, and there is not a single one under the age of 60. However, now that 17th aunt has advanced to the 9th level of key training, the family elders and core management should pay attention to it. Because even if a cultivator with mixed spiritual roots takes the foundation building pill, the chance of successfully building a foundation is only 50 to 50. But Yun Dabing has true spiritual roots, and the chance of successfully building a foundation after taking the foundation building pill is higher. Lunch passed quickly as the 3 of them discussed Yun Dabing. Yun Yongzhu asked his father for 2 blank white water heart jades of the 2nd level inferior grade, and returned to his own courtyard. He planned to make a jade slip of the model of the whole cave residence as a jade slip for the construction design of the mansion tomorrow. This idea was inspired by the jade slip of the location of the spiritual cave that Yun Dachan gave him. Originally, he was thinking of drawing a blueprint. Jade is divided into ordinary jade and spiritual jade. Ordinary jade comes in many varieties and colors. It is generally used to make various jade boxes and jade bottles for low-level spiritual medicines, spiritual plants and pills. It can also be made into various jade bowls, plates, and furniture accessories, with many functions. Lingaihu is also divided into many properties and types. Generally, it will be made into containers for high-level spiritual medicines and elixirs, and it can also be refined into magic tools, spiritual tools, talismans, etc. Jade slips are the simplest auxiliary magic weapon. Any foundation building cultivator with divine consciousness can make jade slips. Jade slips are divided into jade slips of cultivation methods, jade slips of magic methods, and jade slips of notes. But no matter what kind of jade slip it is, it has only one function, which is to transmit information to the user of the jade slip. Not all spiritual jades are suitable for making jade slips. Only a kind of spiritual jade called heart jade can be used to make jade slips and record text and pattern information. White water heart jade is a common raw material for making jade slips in the cultivation world, and the price is not expensive. Usually, one spirit stone can buy 10 blank white water heart jades of the 1st grade inferior grade. The information that can be recorded by the 1st grade inferior white water heart jade is limited, and the preservation time is short. Because Yun Yongzhu planned to make an information jade slip with patterns as the main content and text as the auxiliary content, he asked Yun's father for blank white water heart jade of the 2nd grade inferior grade. The production of this jade slip is difficult, but it is also extremely simple. Yun Yongzhu picked up a white jade with a width of 2 fingers and a length of 1 finger in his right hand. When his spiritual consciousness probed into it, he could see a blank void. He used his thoughts and spiritual consciousness as a pen to carve out a wall in the empty void, then a room, a small courtyard, several sets of tables, corridors, kitchens, utility rooms, pavilions, terraces, towers, pavilions, and waterside pavilions. All of this was not grayish white, but colorful, and looked like a real mansion. This is the function of the heart jade, which can turn the traces left by the cultivator's spiritual consciousness and thoughts into real pattern information. After Yun Yongzhu finished carving, he carefully marked all the sizes outside these buildings, to prevent the clansmen from building the buildings in his cave in a mess. After that, he used his spiritual consciousness to carve all the buildings again, to strengthen the traces left by the heart jade, and then he pulled his spiritual consciousness out of the white water heart jade. This should be able to be used for 7 or 8 days. Yun Yongzhu muttered to himself. The reason why Yun Yongzhu chose the second level Beishu Heart Jade was also closely related to this. A jade slip made simply like his could not be used for a long time like a jade slip for cultivation techniques. Generally speaking, jade slips are divided into long-term jade slips and short-term jade slips according to the time of use. Long-term jade slips are jade slips that can be used for a long time, and the time of use is at least 100 years. They are generally used to record cultivation techniques and precious magic. Short-term jade slips are jade slips that can only be used for a few years. They are generally used to record notes and most magic. A jade slip made simply and casually like Yun Yongzhu is a short-term jade slip, which can only be used for a few days. In fact, the lifespan of a jade slip is generally closely related to the type, quality, grade, and production method of the jade slip. Almost all foundation building cultivators can make short-term jade slips, but making long-term jade slips requires one of two conditions to be met. One is to practice the method of making jade slips, and the other is to spend more time and energy. Yun Yongzhu had never practiced the art of making jade slips, and his family did not have such art in their collection. He did not intend to spend a lot of time making this jade slip, so he could only make a short-term jade slip. After completing a cave design jade slip, Yun Yongzhu picked up another piece of white water heart jade and began to make it. According to him, even if the two cave design drawings were only used for 7 or 8 days, they should be able to meet the needs of the clan members, so that they could remember his cave design, and then successfully complete the construction of his cave. After the two jade slips were completed, Yun Yongzhu had no other arrangements, and he had no elixir materials to refine, so he went into the bedroom to meditate and practice. Chapter 229 Preparation for Leaving. It was not until the next day at the hour of Mao that Yun Yongzhu stopped practicing the burning wood technique. He opened his eyes, a flash of joy flashed in his eyes, and then he returned to calm. Since he advanced to the foundation building realm, his cultivation progress has been very slow. During this time back home, he has not stopped practicing every day, and today he finally feels the obvious improvement in his cultivation. This made Yun Yongzhu somewhat relieved that his efforts were not in vain. However, he still felt a little emotional. After working so hard for so many days, he only made a little progress. This was really a test for him. Yun Yongzhu actually did not lack elixirs to increase his cultivation. Although the success rate of his current dueling pill was very low, it could also meet his own needs. It was just that, after practicing for many years, and becoming an alchemist for many years, he knew that taking too many low quality pills was not good for himself. Therefore, he had already thought about it, and he would not accept it, unless he practiced the top grade pills in the future. Therefore, he sold all the middle and low grade gelling pills he had refined, and did not leave any for himself. It was just that he didn't know when he would be able to refine the top grade dueling pill and the wood flame pill, and he also needed to collect materials and start the furnace as soon as possible. Yun Yongzhu thought about it and made up his mind to practice alchemy diligently to improve the success rate of his second level high quality elixir, to assist himself in his practice and improve his spiritual power. After thinking about it, Yun Yongzhu did not stay in the bedroom for long. He got up, cleaned himself up, packed up, and then went out of the yard to find his father and mother. According to the agreement, they can go to the Khan's spiritual materials shop in Yunzhou City today to bring back the spiritual materials they ordered. Yun Yongzhu still took Yun Dachan and his wife to the sky above Yunzhou City after nearly an hour. After Yun Yongzhu put away the willow leaf shuttle, he said to his father and mother, "Dad and Mom, you go to the spiritual materials shop first. I have to go to Wanbao Pavilion." He planned to return to the sect after the cave was built. He wanted to refine a few furnaces of Jilingdan before leaving for his parents to practice, so he had to go to Wanbao Pavilion to buy some elixir materials. "Let's go together. We also need to buy a larger storage bag." Yun Yongzhu looked at his parents' waists. They only had first level medium low quality storage bags hanging around their waists. The first level medium quality storage bags were accidentally obtained in Xianyuan City. This first level medium low quality storage bag simply could not hold the many spiritual materials and other ordinary building materials they had ordered. "Then let's go together. Storage magic weapons cannot be purchased everywhere. In Yunzhou, only the Wanbei Pavilion and the Bixu Pavilion in the main city have storage bags for sale. Although other places occasionally sell them, and they may even be cheaper, they are not legitimate, so you have to rely on luck. The three of them walked slowly towards the direction of the Wanbei Pavilion in the market. On the way, Yun Yongzhu told them about his plan to return to the sect. It's better to go back to the sect earlier. After all, the spiritual energy in your cave in Piomio Peak is more abundant and pure, which is more beneficial to your cultivation. But your newly built cave is wasted. Dad and Mom, I have already established my foundation and can travel freely between the sect and Yunzhou. It's still a waste of time. When do you plan to come back? In 6 months. It will be your 30th birthday. Yang Liu reminded Yun Yongzhu that she hoped he could return to the family before his birthday. She hadn't celebrated her eldest son's birthday for many years. There is still more than half a year. Don't worry, Mom. I will definitely come back before your birthday. After saying that, the three of them had arrived at the door of Wanbei Pavilion. Coincidentally, the waiter at the door was still the same one. When he saw Yun Yongzhu, he immediately recognized him as a senior in the foundation building period and respectfully led the three to the second floor again. Li Yunhei came up soon. Junior brother Yun, you are here. Please take a seat quickly. As he said that, he ordered the waiter to serve the spiritual tea quickly. Yun Yongzhu didn't have that thought. He waved his hand and said, Brother Li, I'm here today to buy some spiritual medicine materials and a first grade top grade storage bag. Please prepare them for me quickly. Then Yun Yongzhu handed Li Yunhei a jade slip with a list of spiritual medicines engraved on it. It not only contained the spiritual medicine materials needed to refine the Jiling pill, but also mixed with several other low-level spiritual medicines. This way of buying medicinal materials is also a common method used by their alchemists, so as not to leak the recipe. There are also more cautious alchemists who will divide the spiritual medicines required for a recipe into several parts, and buy them in several stores. In fact, even if the recipe materials are leaked, it will not be a big deal. After all, refining pills is very complicated. Not to mention the alchemy techniques, fire, etc. Even if they are both alchemists, the order of refining the spiritual medicines is a big problem. Li Yunhei took the list and went downstairs. He waited for half an hour before all the spiritual medicines were fully equipped. Junior brother Yun, this is a first-class storage bag. 500 spiritual stones, and inside is the spiritual medicine you want. 4080 spiritual stones, a total of 4580 spiritual stones. Yun Yongzhu took the storage bag and probed into it with his spiritual sense. The space inside was 3 meters in radius. It was indeed a first-class storage bag. Then, in front of Li Yunhei, he took out all 233 large wooden boxes in it and stuffed the empty storage bag into his arms. There were 10 spiritual medicines, but each kind of spiritual medicine was packed in a wooden box. Yun Yongzhu had to prepare them one by one before opening the furnace. These wooden boxes covered the entire floor of the living room. The spiritual power in Yun Yongzhu's body surged out, and he performed the object control technique. These spiritual powers gently opened the lids of all the wooden boxes containing spiritual medicines like a breeze. Suddenly, a strong medicinal fragrance filled the entire elegant room. Yun Yongzhu scanned the area with his spiritual sense and knew the types and numbers of all the spiritual medicines. He quickly used the object control technique to cover all the wooden boxes to prevent the medicinal properties of the spiritual medicines from being lost. Then Yun Yongzhu put the spiritual medicine materials back into his storage bag and took out 4580 spiritual stones. The number of spiritual medicines is correct. Thank you, Senior Brother Li. Please keep the payment. Although it was just a glance, Yun Yongzhu could still see that the spiritual medicines that Li Yunhei selected for him were of medium and high quality, so he naturally had to accept this favor. Junior brother Yun is serious, and I hope you can take care of my business more. Yes, as long as I'm in Yunzhou, I will definitely buy spiritual medicines from you first. Yun Yongzhu knew that, although these disciples who managed the Wanbei Pavilion were far away from the sect, if they could make money for the sect, they would also get a share. Li Yunhei was overjoyed after hearing this, and it was worth it for him to send Yun Yongzhu a second-level high-quality spiritual medicine purple ginseng. Thank you, Junior brother Yun. With Li Yunhei's enthusiastic farewell, Yun Yongzhu led his father and mother out of the Wanbei pavilion. After they walked away, Yun Yongzhu handed the first grade high quality storage bag in his arms to Yang Liu. Dad and mom, didn't you borrow 13,000 spirit stones from the family to buy the King Iron boat? This storage bag is for you. Son, do you still have spirit stones to use? Mom, don't worry, I still have a lot, enough. By the way, what I just bought was the refining materials for the gelling pill. When it is refined, I will sell it to you at a discount of 30 spirit stones from the sect's market price. How about it? Everyone has their own relatives and friends. Yun Yongzhu even sold the spirit pills to his 2 great-grandfathers, and each pill would be 10 or 20 spirit stones cheaper, not to mention his own parents. Yun Daichen and Yang Liu were immediately happy when they heard it. Their son was concerned about their cultivation progress, so he came to Wanbei Pavilion to buy spirit medicine materials. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 230, Obtaining Spiritual Materials and Building a Cave. The couple heard Yun Yongzhu say that he had no shortage of spiritual stones, so they accepted the top grade storage bag with peace of mind. Of course, they were well aware of Yun Yongzhu's alchemy level and were very pleased with their son's filial piety. Thank you, son. The 3 chatted happily and arrived at Khan's spiritual material shop in about a quarter of an hour. Standing at the door of the shop was a young cultivator at the 2nd level of key training. Seeing Yun Yongzhu and the other 2 coming into the shop from afar, he quickly typed out a sound transmission seal. Within a few breaths, a young cultivator at the 5th level of key training came out of the shop. He was the waiter who received Yun Yongzhu and the other 2 yesterday. As soon as the waiter came out, he saw Yun Yongzhu and the other 2 who had not yet entered the shop and hurriedly came out to greet them warmly. Senior, please wait for me. Come in and have a cup of spiritual tea. Why are you in such a hurry? We have already left a deposit. I'm afraid you are just hoping that we will not come. Haha. Hearing Yun Yongzhu's joke, the waiter waved his hand and said, Senior, I dare not have such thoughts. The spiritual materials ordered by the seniors have been transferred from the clan treasury overnight. Please follow me. Then the young man led Yun Yongzhu and others through the lobby and came to an elegant room in the backyard. Senior, please sit down for a while. I will go and get the spiritual materials. After that, the young clan member hurried out of the elegant room and came back with 2 storage bags soon. Senior, these are the spiritual materials you ordered yesterday. Those ordinary materials are also in it. Then the 2 sides exchanged the final payment of spiritual stones with one hand and handed over the spiritual materials with the other hand. The transaction was very smooth. Yun Yongzhu and the other 2 sneered in their hearts. It turned out that during the short time they were waiting, in a room separated from their elegant room, 5 old men of the 9th level of key training were discussing killing people and stealing treasures. It was still an old man who looked the most majestic who spoke up. I think we should forget it this time. We probably can't eat this fat sheep. I feel that those 3 people are a bit unfathomable. But these people didn't know that they had already walked through the gates of hell. They didn't know that the targets they wanted to attack were 3 cultivators in the foundation building period, and their every move was visible under the consciousness of Yun Yongzhu and the other 2. Yun Yongzhu was eager for the cultivators of the Khan family to attack them, so that he would have a reason to directly destroy the Blackstone Mountain Khan family, and he wouldn't have to bother the clan leader to inquire about them one by one. Thank you for your patronage, Senior. If you need spiritual materials in the future, please come to our Khan family spiritual material shop. The young member of the Khan family sent the 3 people out of the store with a face full of courtesy. After Yun Yongzhu came out, he sacrificed the willow leaf shuttle again, and in less than an hour, he brought his father Yun back to Yunwu Mountain. Son, your willow leaf shuttle is really fast. This willow leaf shuttle has been nurtured in my dungeon for more than a month, and my speed has finally improved a little. I haven't asked my parents where the cave is going to be built. Do you have any hired people? Your mother and I will go up the mountain to the second level spiritual vein to see the specific locations of the several spiritual caves given by the clan leader, and then choose the location of the cave. Slow work makes fine work. Your father and I will slowly build the cave ourselves. It will take about 1 or 2 months to build the cave. Zua, you don't have to worry about us, just build your own cave. Oh, then I will go to the mission hall first. I hired some tribesmen to help me build the cave yesterday. Go. Yun Yongzhu rushed to the mission hall at lightning speed. Before he landed, he could see a group of people gathering outside the mission hall in midair. After he landed, he found that these tribesmen were arguing. What happened? What are you doing? Yun Yongzhu released his spiritual power as a foundation building cultivator, attracting the attention of these tribesmen who were arguing together. Ninth brother. Ninth brother. Ninth uncle. There were all kinds of names. More than 20 people were bustling around, and Yun Yongzhu keenly noticed that there were a few familiar faces inside. Big brother. Fifth brother. Why are you here too? Second sister. Third brother. What's going on? After Yun Yongzhu and Yun Yongzhu explained, Yun Yongzhu realized that all this was caused by his hiring tasks. Because the commission for the hiring tasks released by Yun Yongzhu was relatively generous, and the difficulty of the tasks was not high, and the task time was not long. Therefore, once this task was released, it attracted the tribesmen to rush to take on this task. In fact, this was also due to the suggestions Yun Yongzhu made to Yun Yongzhu and Yun Yongzhu yesterday. After Yun Yongzhu left, the two of them immediately implemented Yun Yongzhu's idea, using the walls of the mission hall as paper, to record some long-term mission content. Thinking that the employment task assigned by Yun Yongzhu was more urgent, he also wrote this task on it. Therefore, the employment task issued by Yun Yongzhu was known to all the clan members in the clan. Yun Yongzhu looked around and saw that in addition to his second sister Yun Yongzhu and third brother Yun Yongzhu, there were a total of 26 clan members outside the mission hall. 6 more. He hardly thought about it and said to Yun Yongzhu and the others, second sister, third brother, how about this? Let all these people help me build the cave house and the commission for the task will still be calculated as before. Yun Yongzhu was just thinking about building his own cave house as soon as possible so that he could return to the sect as soon as possible and study the origin and function of the mysterious super as soon as possible. Yun Yongzhu and Yun Yongzhu knew that Yun Yongzhu was a rich man, so they nodded and agreed directly. Okay, then you can take them all away, my ninth brother. After they finish their tasks, they will naturally come to me to claim their rewards. Yun Yongzhu then took out his willow leaf shuttle again and sacrificed it to enlarge it. He impatiently and slowly flew to the top of the mountain with the tribesmen in the key training stage. Amid the exclamations of all the tribesmen, Yun Yongzhu brought everyone to the location of the cave he had chosen in less than half an hour. Excuse me, who is the master architect hired for this task? My ninth brother. It's me. Brother. It turns out to be you. I'll leave my cave to you. Yun Yongzhu handed him the 2 jade slips he had made and took out all the spiritual materials he had purchased, piling them between the trees he had cut down yesterday. Brother, just build it according to the design of the cave house in these 2 jade slips. The materials are all here, you can use them at will. I hope you can help me build my cave house within 10 days. Ninth brother, just leave it to me with confidence. With so many people building it together, I will definitely help you build the cave house as soon as possible. Yun Yongzhu and Yun Yongzhu explained a few more words and then returned to their own small courtyard with ease. After he returned, he was not idle. He took out all the spiritual medicine materials he bought, sorted and configured the materials for refining 10 sets of gelling pills. Chapter 231 The Cave Mansion is completed. In the following days, Yun Yongzhu spent his leisure time in his yard, quietly waiting for the good news that his cave was completed. He would refine a furnace of elixirs every day. In addition, he was either practicing the golden gang cover spell, or studying and tossing the unknown handkerchief. Most of the other time was spent on practicing to improve his cultivation. Although the spiritual power refined by meditation was negligible, and he could hardly feel the growth of his cultivation, he did not slack off. Moreover, insisting on meditation and cultivation every day was also very beneficial to polishing his character. After 9 days, Yun Yongzhu used up all the 10 materials in his hand and produced 12 pills, and the pill production rate increased greatly. Among them, 10 were low grade, 1 was medium grade, and 1 was high grade. Moreover, the furnace was opened 10 times and 7 were successful, and the success rate was obviously improved by a lot. However, the quality of the finished pills was much lower, because Yun Yongzhu only used the 9 turn shattering pill art in 3 of the 10 furnaces of pills, and only succeeded once. In short, among the 12 spirit gathering pills, only the high grade pill was a second turn pill, and the rest were all first turn pills. Although the 9 turn alchemy art can improve the quality of pills, the 9 turn pill crushing art obviously has a great impact on the pill yield rate. After all, the soul gathering pill is a second level pill that Yun Yongzhu has only recently come into contact with. After careful consideration, he decided to first increase the pill yield rate to a certain level and then slowly improve the quality of the pill. On the same day, he sent 11 first level soul gathering pills to his father and mother and exchanged them for 1,490 spirit stones at the price of 134 low quality and 194 medium quality. As for the second level high quality soul gathering pill, of course, he kept it for himself. This pill was also a surprise for Yun Yongzhu. After all, he had only opened the furnace for less than 40 times for this second level soul gathering pill in a few months. At the end of the afternoon of that day, he received a communication talisman from his second sister Yun Yongzhu. Ninth brother, your cave has been built. Please go over and take a look. After acceptance, remember to write me a letter. After receiving the letter, Yun Yongzhu was very surprised and couldn't wait to fly to the top of Yunwu Mountain. About a quarter of an hour later, he arrived at the place where the cave was being built. There were huge changes here. On the empty land that was originally overgrown with weeds, trees, and materials, there was now an elegant courtyard mansion covering a large area. Looking down from above, the cave was full of pavilions, terraces, and corridors. There was even a large area inside that was dug into a small lake. Yun Yongzhu fell from midair and landed outside the gate of the mansion. Above the gate hung a plaque more than 10 feet long with the words Feiyu Palace written on it. This plaque was exactly the same as the one he had in the sect, the only difference being that this plaque was engraved with a circle of auspicious cloud patterns. In addition to the top of the mansion, this cave only had one entrance and exit, which was the gate where Yun Yongzhu was. At this time, the cave had not yet been set up with any restrictions or barriers. Yun Yongzhu walked forward and gently pushed open the 2 doors made of agar wood. What caught his eyes was a square covering nearly 1 acre. There was a high platform on the square, and at the edge of the platform stood a stone that was taller than him. This was the martial arts arena specially designed by Yun Yongzhu. The square was paved with blue and grey bricks, and the platform was made of spiritual material dolomite. Yun Yongzhu flew up and stomped hard on the ground of the platform. The platform was intact, and he nodded with satisfaction. Looking around, there were bluestone roads 1 foot wide leading in all directions. On both sides of the road were vacant lands, which together accounted for nearly 1 acre. Many common herbs such as wild chrysanthemum, summer cypress, and 5-root grass grew on these pieces of land. Occasionally, you can find first level, middle and low grade spiritual medicines such as grounding grass, Schisandra chinensis, rose moss grass, cattle tendon grass, and half-branched lotus, which are often found in the recipe of the elixir, but are not worth many spiritual stones. Of course, the most useless weeds on the ground are useless weeds, so whether it is ordinary herbs or high-grade spiritual medicines, the growth is not very pleasing. Even so, because Yun Yongzhu's cave covers an area of more than 7 acres, these low-level spiritual medicines are quite valuable. Yun Yongzhu walked along a bluestone road and was surprised to find that his people did not pick all these low-level spiritual herbs and flowers. The end of the road he was walking on was a magnificent palace. The top of this hall was covered with glazed tiles, which were dazzling and colorful. There were more than a dozen rooms inside, which were used by Yun Yongzhu to accommodate his clansmen or friends who stayed overnight in case of an emergency. The entire hall was made of red sandalwood, so Yun Yongzhu named it Fian Hall. He did not go into Fian Hall, but continued to go east. Passing through Fian Hall is the main courtyard of the entire cave, where Yun Yongzhu's bedroom, practice room, and alchemy room are all arranged. The entire bedroom is built with ironwood, and its defense is the highest in the entire cave. The practice room is built under the bedroom, and a 3-foot thick stubborn stone is used as the dragon breaking stone of the practice room. Turn right and walk a few steps outside the bedroom corridor, and you will find the alchemy room, where the alchemy platform is built with fire spirit bricks. The room on the left side of the bedroom is a study, which has a large glazed skylight with excellent lighting. 5 Qingyang woods are used to build a large bookshelf, but of course there is no book on the shelf now. As for the treasure room, Yun Yongzhu plans to take time to dig it himself. Yun Yongzhu named this large courtyard Zhuanzhu. In addition to these houses, there are more than a dozen small houses in Zhuanzhu, one of which is a kitchen, and the rest are still unknown, but the 3 rooms are already full of remaining building materials and spiritual materials. Most of the corridors in Zhuanzhu are made of red sandalwood. Walking in it, a sweet fragrance is refreshing. In addition to the colorful glazed bricks, the ground outside the corridor also uses various pebbles to pave several paths. There is a pavilion with a green body next to the path. The material of this pavilion is a relatively precious Qingxin bamboo, which can be used by Yun Yongzhu to comprehend spells and comprehend the recipes of pills. In addition to the pavilion, there is also a stubborn stone standing not far away from the path, so that Yun Yongzhu can cast attack spells and spiritual arts at any time to test the power. In addition, there is only a pond, 2 sets of round tables and chairs, a lounge chair, and the rest is just a large open space. Yun Yongzhu plans to transplant a few spiritual fruit trees when he returns to the family next time. Yun Yongzhu walked out of the alchemy room, came to the courtyard, and walked onto the rainbow bridge on the pond, thinking whether he should plant the same spiritual lotus as in the sect. After a moment, he crossed the rainbow bridge, walked out of the bamboo garden, and looked at the huge water mirror to the west. Looking at this water mirror, Yun Yongzhu named it Mirror Lake on the spot. This Mirror Lake is a lake of nearly 1 acre that he had specially ordered his clansmen to dig out. It has been filled with enough stream water. Yun Yongzhu wants to cultivate some aquatic spiritual medicines in it. In addition, next to the Mirror Lake, Yun Yongzhu also wants to open up a spiritual medicine garden of about 2 acres. This spiritual medicine garden is not like the spiritual field in his sect, where he randomly grows some medium and low level spiritual medicines, or some low value spiritual fruit trees. He plans to use this spiritual medicine garden to grow and cultivate some high grade, long year precious spiritual medicines. In addition to these main buildings, 3 small courtyards were built in Fiyu Palace, namely Xiangan Courtyard, Yihan Courtyard, and Kaiyan Courtyard. This is a residence that Yun Yongzhu left for other permanent residents in the cave, such as helpers, attendants, etc. in the cave. Yun Yongzhu was in the cave, and in a trance he returned to the lower hall of the cave on Biomio Peak. Although this mansion is not as beautiful as the cave he lives in the sect, it is also like a paradise, with picturesque scenery and abundant spiritual energy, making it very suitable for cultivation and living. Chapter 232 Arrangements. Yun Yongzhu was intoxicated for only a moment before he woke up from the beauty of his cave. He had looked at everything in the cave, used all the spiritual materials that needed to be used, and put all the remaining spiritual materials into the storage bag. There was no cutting corners, and the cave was built exactly the same as the model he designed. Yun Yongzhu was very satisfied. He took out the communication talisman as soon as possible and sent a message to his second sister, informing her that the task he had issued was successfully completed. It was not an easy task to build such a large cave within 10 days. Yun Yongzhu told his second sister that the task rewards could be distributed to the tribesmen who accepted the task. After that, he began to get busy. He continuously cast one seal after another along the outer wall of the cave, moving quickly and pouring out his spiritual power. His spiritual power was like an invisible dye, spreading over the outer wall and the sky of the entire cave, but it was always condensed and not dispersed. After operating for nearly half an hour, when Yun Yongzhu was almost running out of spiritual power, he finally returned to the starting point and covered the entire Fiyu Palace with this special spiritual power trajectory. Then Yun Yongzhu made a flying gesture on the spot and shouted, Concentrate. Suddenly, the spiritual power he had scattered throughout the cave gathered above him, as if he had heard a call. His gesture changed again. Disperse. All the spiritual power did not return to its original position as before, but like when the formation was activated, an invisible net slowly spread and gradually covered the entire cave. Yun Yongzhu was relieved to see that the barrier was successfully arranged and wiped the sweat from his forehead. He almost failed at the last minute. Yun Yongzhu secretly rejoiced that fortunately his spiritual consciousness and spiritual power were much stronger than those of the cultivators of the same level, otherwise the barrier would have to rely on tools to be successfully arranged. The barrier is actually an alternative formation. A barrier like this one, which is simply arranged, only has the functions of defense, warning and some confinement and restraint, unlike the array, which is powerful and has a variety of functions. Not only that, the biggest difference between the barrier and the array is a difference in power. The array is generally arranged with the help of other spiritual objects, such as spiritual stones, magic tools, array flags, array plates, etc. After activation, the array can use the spiritual power between heaven and earth to obtain powerful power, or use it for attack, defense, or to confuse the enemy, etc. The barrier is different. When arranging the barrier, only the spiritual power of the monk can be used. Even if the caster's spiritual power is insufficient and other spiritual objects are used for assistance, it still depends on the monk's own strength in the end to successfully arrange the barrier. Therefore, the power of the barrier is closely related to the monk's own cultivation. Although the power of the array is also inseparable from the monk's cultivation, the restrictions are not as great as the barrier. Moreover, after the barrier is arranged, the owner of the cave can have full control over his cave. Regardless of who or what else enters his cave, the caster can see through it all. Unlike the array, there are loopholes to exploit. After the barrier was set up, Yun Yongzhu returned to the bamboo garden. He entered the bedroom, went down to the practice room, and took out the second grade upper grade spirit gathering array worth 5,900 spirit stones that he had bought. Yun Yongzhu moved a piece of dolomite floor in the center of the practice room, and there was a space the size of a formation plate inside. He put the spirit gathering array plate placed on the ground beside him into it, thought about it, took out 3 fire spirit stones and 2 wood spirit stones, and put them into the grooves inside the array plate, and finally he covered it with the dolomite slab. Then Yun Yongzhu pinched a spell and activated the array plate, and instantly felt the fire attribute spiritual power and wood attribute spiritual power around him becoming more and more concentrated. It was not until a quarter of an hour later that the spiritual power fluctuations gradually stabilized, and the concentration of spiritual energy no longer changed. He took out the spirit gathering cushion he got at the auction in Xianyuan City, and placed it on the dolomite slab, then sat cross-legged to meditate and practice. After an incense stick, Yun Yongzhu finished running a small zaoshan, opened his eyes, and his face was full of joy. This second grade upper grade spirit gathering array disc really lived up to its reputation. The gathered spiritual power made the spiritual power concentration of this training room comparable to that of a second grade upper grade spirit vein. This is not the time when the spiritual power of the spirit cave is gushing out. If the spiritual power is gushing out, the spiritual power here will be more concentrated and pure. Of course, the spirit gathering cushion he used also played a supporting role. After the training room was arranged, Yun Yongzhu put away the cushion and returned to the bedroom. At this time, the concentration of spiritual energy in the bedroom was also very rich, only slightly less than that in the training room. Yun Yongzhu did not stay in the cave for long, and hurried to the mission hall at the foot of the mountain. Ninth brother, why are you here again? What tasks are you going to assign? Yes, second sister. Third brother, I have to assign a task to tidy up the spiritual land this time. Although Yun Yongzhu was going to return to the sect, the time in between could not be wasted. Although the buildings in my cave have been built, my spiritual medicine garden is still in need of renovation. I want to hire 1 or 2 tribesmen to help me tidy up the large spiritual land in the cave. In addition to clearing the weeds, medicinal herbs, spiritual medicines, etc. in the cave, I also need to plant astragalus and safflower grass. Ninth brother, if you want to plant, you must plant some valuable spiritual medicines and spiritual herbs. Yes. Ninth brother, a large basket of astragalus and safflower grass contains less spiritual power than a bowl of low-grade spiritual rice. It is useless except for feeding spiritual cloud chickens and red-skinned beasts. You can't take advantage of them just because they grow in a short time. When Yun Yongzhu and Yun Yongzhu heard that Yun Yongzhu wanted to plant these two first-grade low-grade spiritual plants that were not very useful, they all spoke to persuade him. Although astragalus and safflower grass are first-grade low-grade spiritual plants, they have no medicinal properties worth mentioning, but they can improve the fertility of the land and nourish spiritual fields. When the 20 mu of spiritual fields on his Piomio peak just opened up, Wang Yiming planted a large area of astragalus and red flower grass. Yun Yongzhu and Wang Yiming have been together for so many years, and it can be said that they have not been in vain. He has also learned some little knowledge that only spiritual plant farmers know. However, how to deal with the small mirror lake in the cave house needs to go back to the sect to ask someone. Second sister, third brother, although my cave house is on the second level lower grade spiritual vein, the spiritual fields have not been cleaned up yet, and I want to start planting spiritual herbs and medicines immediately. You don't know that, although these two kinds of spiritual plants have no effect on us cultivators, they are very beneficial to spiritual fields and spiritual lands. With Yun Yongzhu's insistence, his task was successfully issued. Second sister, third brother, if someone accepts the task, let them go to Xingchen Mansion to find me. Thank you very much. Yun Yongzhu had just returned to his courtyard and packed his luggage when two clansmen came to the door. 17th aunt, why are you here? And you, my brother, are here too? Yun Yongzhu suddenly remembered that 17th aunt Yun Dabing seemed to have been taking care of the family's spiritual medicine garden on the mountain, and he couldn't help but be overjoyed. Experience is even better. However, he didn't expect that his elder brother Yun Yongzhu would also come. Jiu, your mission reward is so generous, I can't let it go if I find it. Don't worry, I will definitely help you organize the spiritual land in the cave into spiritual fields. Yun Yongzhu also said, Jiu, although I, your elder brother, am not a spiritual plant husband, I have experience in planting spiritual rice. I think I can still help. Just let me take over your mission. Yun Yongzhu knew that there were not many spiritual plant husbands in the family, so he didn't ask for much in the mission. It was not difficult to organize the spiritual land and spiritual fields and plant astragalus and safflower grass. He made two wooden pass talismans for the cave and handed them to the two. 17th aunt, big brother, I will be returning to the sect tomorrow, and this cave will be handed over to you too. I hope that, when I come back, all the spiritual lands in the cave will have been reclaimed and cultivated. Even if it's not for you, we will take it seriously for the mission reward, don't worry. Afterwards, Yun Yongzhu explained the location of the spiritual field to be reclaimed, and the planting range of Agastache rugosa and red clover. Chapter 233 Return to the sect. After Yun Yongzhu arranged the matters of the cave, he drove the willow shuttle out of the gate of Yunwu Mountain, and rushed to the south of Qingshan sect. He did not stop along the way, and traveled day and night. Only when Yun Yongzhu's spiritual power was more than half used up, he would continue to travel, while controlling the willow shuttle, and taking the top grade key recovering pill to slowly restore his spiritual power. Although the key recovering pill is only a first level pill used by low level cultivators in the key training stage to quickly restore spiritual power, it also has some effect on cultivators in the foundation building stage. However, due to the higher realm, a key recovering pill cannot restore much spiritual power, so this kind of pill is not suitable for people above the foundation building stage, and it is not worth it. For Yun Yongzhu, every time he recovers 30% of his spiritual power, he needs to take 2 top grade key recovering pills. This can only be done by alchemists. 1 key recovering pill is not much, but 20 spirit stones are required, which is too extravagant to use for traveling. Ordinary cultivators would save it for critical moments, such as when they were running out of spiritual power during battle. Yun Yongzhu knew of a pill that could restore spiritual power in the foundation building stage, which was the second level soul recovering pill, and his master had already given him the recipe. However, He had only been in the foundation building stage for more than 4 months, and the recipe for the soul recovering pill had only been in his hands for 2 short months. Moreover, in these short 2 months or so, Yun Yongzhu spent half of his time on the way back to Yunwu Mountain. The rest of the time was either busy refining the soul gathering pill and increasing the pill yielding rate of the soul gathering pill, or practicing the golden gang cover spell. With such a tight time, it was already very good for him to be able to refine the soul gathering pill, so where would he have time to comprehend and study the soul recovering pill recipe? It just so happened that he had 2 bottles of high quality soul recovering pills in his collection, and Yun Yongzhu felt that it was the most suitable to use them to restore spiritual power and hurry on the road. After all, the cost and price of the soul recovering pill were relatively high, and it would be too extravagant to use them to hurry on the road. 34 days later, Yun Yongzhu returned to his own cave on Biomeo Peak of Kingshansek with good luck. 3 days later than when he returned to his family. Wang Yiming was delighted by Yun Yongzhu's return, as he had few remaining key gathering pills for cultivation. Although many pills can be purchased in the sect, the quality is not as good as those made by Yun Yongzhu, and the price of key gathering pills is relatively expensive. Wang, nephew, I haven't seen you for more than 2 months. Your cultivation has improved a lot. If it weren't for the help of your key gathering pills, how could my cultivation improve so quickly? Uncle Yun, you're back just in time to help me make a decision. Then Wang Yiming reported to Yun Yongzhu everything that had happened in the past 2 months. For example, how many spiritual plants and spiritual medicines were sold, how many spiritual stones were obtained, and the growth of spiritual fruits, etc. Uncle Yun, in another 3 months, the 8 acres of green blood grass and 2 acres of blood recovering grass will be ready for harvest. Do you want to keep some for your own use? Should we continue to plant these 2 spiritual medicines in the next round? Yun Yongzhu heard the news and suddenly realized that it had been almost 5 years since the green blood grass and blood recovering grass were planted. Then he showed his joy again. The harvest and sale of spiritual medicines would bring another income. The green blood grass and blood recovering grass are first grade high quality spiritual medicines, the main ingredients of the key gathering pill and the key recovering pill respectively. They only need to grow for 5 years before they can be harvested and used as medicine. Yun Yongzhu chose to plant these 2 first grade high quality spiritual herbs, mainly because they have a relatively short growth period. Although these 2 spiritual medicines are not the most valuable first grade spiritual medicines, their value is not low. The market price of green blood grass is as high as 5 spiritual stones, and the price of blood recovering grass is as high as 8 spiritual stones. 1 acre of spiritual field can grow 220 green blood grass, or 180 blood recovering grass. After the 8 acres of green blood grass and 2 acres of blood recovering grass are harvested, Yun Yongzhu can at least earn tens of thousands of spiritual stones. Yun Yongzhu had a total of 20 mu of spiritual fields on Biomeo Peak. Because it was on the 2nd grade upper grade spiritual vein, it was a 1st grade upper grade spiritual field as soon as it was cultivated, and there was no need to nourish it to upgrade it. These 20 mu of spiritual fields were originally planted with 5 kinds of 1st grade medium and low grade spiritual rice, namely red marrow rice, jade crystal rice, yellow tooth rice, green sticky rice, and green mulberry rice, which could bring Yun Yongzhu an income of 2,000 spiritual stones every year. At that time, Yun Yongzhu was preparing to enter the Zuanshan secret realm. 2 years later, he felt that all the spiritual fields were planted with 1st grade lower grade spiritual grains. Although it was faster to obtain spiritual stones, the income was undoubtedly the lowest. In addition, he also had an annual allowance of 1,200 spiritual stones from the sect, so Yun Yongzhu decided to empty 10 mu of spiritual fields to plant green blood grass and blood recovery grass. 5 years later, Yun Yongzhu survived in the Zuanshan secret realm and came out smoothly. After that, he arranged for an acre of spiritual fields to plant 1st grade lower grade spiritual rice for his own food. 2 mu of spiritual fields were planted with 1 or 2 year old 1st grade medium and low grade spiritual herbs and medicines such as purple ginseng, spiritual aconite, thistle, kazizi, heather, and ground roots. in exchange for some daily spiritual stone expenses, which also saved Wang Yiming from asking him for spiritual stones every time. The remaining 7 mu of spiritual fields were all planted with silverleaf grass, spiritual power thistle, and spiritual absorption grass that were as old as 10 years. Yun Yongzhu thought about it and felt more at ease planting the precious spiritual herbs with high age in the family, so it would be better to plant them in the sect as usual. Wang Yiming, after the harvest of the green blood grass and blood recovery grass, you should continue to plant them. Okay, Uncle Yun, then I'll go and get busy. The spiritual fruits of the 27 first grade low grade spiritual fruit trees are about to mature, and now is the time to water them with spiritual rain. Yun Yongzhu was thinking about the mysterious handkerchief and was about to go out to the sutra library. Wang Yiming slapped his head and suddenly turned around and said, "By the way, Uncle Yun, Fairy Wang seems to have something urgent to talk to you about. In the past month, she has come to Piomio Peak every few days, and I stopped her on the grounds that you were in seclusion to consolidate your cultivation. Fairy Wang hasn't come for a few days, and I feel that she will come again in the next 1 or 2 days." Yun Yongzhu only told his master, his mistress, his second brother, and his third sister about his return to the family, so Wang Xina, Song Jiayang, and Yun Yongzhu's other friends did not know about his return to Yuntao. He was a little confused about what junior sister Wang wanted to talk to him about. "Okay, I know about it, you go and do it." As soon as he finished speaking, there was a movement outside the courtyard. Wang Yiming guessed, "It may be Fairy Wang. Uncle Yun, do you want to invite her in?" "Of course, if it is her, take her directly to the pavilion in the main courtyard, and tell her that I will be there soon." Yun Yongzhu had just returned from outside the sect, and he was exhausted, and had no time to clean up. He returned to the bedroom to wash up, and change his clothes, before going to the pavilion to meet the guests. He saw Wang Xina sitting quietly in the pavilion, with spiritual tea on the table. There were 2 maids standing outside the pavilion, but Wang Yiming was nowhere to be seen. Seeing Yun Yongzhu coming from afar, Wang Xina couldn't help but stand up happily and greet him. "Uncle Master Yun, it's been more than 3 months since we last met at the Golden Elixir ceremony." Wang Xina entered the sect with Yun Yongzhu, and Yun Yongzhu also invited her and Song Jiayang to attend Master's wife's Golden Elixir ceremony. "Junior Sister Wang, I heard from Wang Yiming that you've been visiting me recently. I've been consolidating my cultivation during this time. Do you have anything urgent?" Chapter 234 Ice Soul Pill. Seeing Yun Yongzhu directly asking about the reason for coming to Piomio Peak, Wang Xina couldn't help but show joy. "Uncle Yun, thanks to you, I have never lacked elixirs since you became an alchemist. It is also because of the help of the Zupo pill you made that I have cultivated to the 9th level of key training so quickly. But now my key training stage has been perfected, and I have been preparing for the foundation building during this period." Yun Yongzhu heard this and couldn't help but think in his heart that junior sister Wang was not planning to take his foundation building pill, but his face didn't show it. Although he had a close relationship with Wang Xina and Song Jiayang in the sect, it was just a relatively close relationship, and the degree of intimacy was far from giving a foundation building pill to each other. He believed that they also knew it in their hearts. Yun Yongzhu thought about it and thought that if junior sister Wang had this idea, she should have said it long ago. Why drag it on for several months and add to the trouble? Junior sister Wang was not the kind of person who would take advantage of others. Moreover, she has the aptitude of ice spirit root. Even if she does not take elixirs and spiritual objects, she can build her foundation by herself. The success rate is as high as 70% to 80%. There is really no need for her to come here and be treated coldly by him. Yun Yongzhu's thoughts were changing in 1,000 ways, but Wang Xina got to the point. "Uncle Yun also knows that I have the aptitude of ice spirit root. It is not a big problem for me to build my foundation by myself, but I still can't make up my mind to go all out. Therefore, I specially found a kind of elixir that can assist ice spirit root cultivators in building their foundation. I want to ask Uncle Yun to refine it for me to calm my mind." Yun Yongzhu suddenly realized that he was asking him to refine the elixir. He was ashamed of his thoughts just now. However, what kind of elixir is this elixir that can assist ice spirit root cultivators in building their foundation? Junior sister Wang, what is the name of the elixir you mentioned, and what grade is it? Junior brother Yun, this elixir is called Ice Soul Pill, a second level elixir. Although Ice Soul Pill is not as good as Foundation Establishment Pill, it also has a 50% chance of Foundation Establishment. Even for cultivators who practice other attribute skills, it also has a 20% Foundation Establishment effect. Are you willing to open the furnace and refine one for me? Yun Yongzhu was a little hesitant. He himself practiced a fire-based skill, which was in conflict with some water attribute or ice attribute spiritual medicines. Therefore, when he first came into contact with the first level Snow Soul Pill, not only was the success rate of the pill unsatisfactory, but even the quality of the pill was not as good as other pills. Later, after refining more, he came up with a roundabout refining method, which improved the quality of the Snow Soul Pill. He had never heard of this Ice Soul Pill, but since it can assist ice-rooted cultivators in building their foundations, it must be very precious. It is absolutely impossible for him to use it to practice like refining the Snow Soul Pill. Junior sister Wang, you also know that I have just established my foundation not long ago, and the success rate of the second level dueling pill is very low. Moreover, I practice a fire attributed technique. I don't know how many kinds of materials there are in the Ice Soul Pill, nor do I know the properties of the spiritual medicine, but from the name of the pill, I can guess that there should be a lot of spiritual medicines with water and ice attributes in the Ice Soul Pill recipe. These are in conflict with my technique, and the success rate is bound to be low. Why don't you find an alchemist who practices water attributed techniques in the sect to refine this Ice Soul Pill for you? Yun Yongzhu carefully considered his words, tactfully rejected Wang Xina, and gave her another suggestion to solve the problem. Wang Xina was slightly happy when she heard this. She had known Yun Yongzhu for many years, and had asked Yun Yongzhu to refine the Snow Soul Pill for her a long time ago. She could be said to have watched Yun Yongzhu's progress in alchemy grow step by step. She said frankly, Uncle Yun, we have known each other for more than 20 years. I know a few other alchemists, but none of them are as good as you in alchemy. Besides, I don't trust the others. By the way, I have prepared 3 portions of materials for refining the Ice Soul Pill. I believe that with your alchemy ability, you can definitely refine the Ice Soul Pill. Please help me. Faced with Wang Xina's plea, Yun Yongzhu hesitated. With 3 portions of materials for the Ice Soul Pill, with his current level of alchemy, he has some confidence in refining one, even if his spiritual power conflicts. After all, Wang Xina is a fellow disciple who entered the Qingshan sect with him. The two have known each other for many years, and are both cultivators in Yunzhou. Moreover, the role of the Ice Soul Pill is extraordinary, and it can even become the foundation of a family or a small force. Ice Soul Pill. Yun Yongzhu chewed on these 3 words in his mouth, and was very curious about this barrier-breaking pill that can help cultivators build their foundation. After thinking for a while, Yun Yongzhu, out of confidence in his alchemy skills and his desire for the recipe, said in a deep voice, Junior sister Wang, can you show me the recipe for the Ice Soul Pill? Wang Xina and Yun Yongzhu have known each other for many years, and have a good understanding of Yun Yongzhu's personality. Seeing him ask this question, she knew that there was great hope, so she did not answer, and directly took out the recipe. Sure enough, Yun Yongzhu took the recipe, and looked at it for nearly an incense stick of time, then nodded and agreed to her request. Junior sister Wang, I will take this order, but I can't guarantee that I will produce the pill. Please think it over, and come back to me. Wang Xina was immediately overjoyed when she heard it. There was no time to waste. She had considered it over and over again during this period. She handed the 3 sets of materials she had collected with great difficulty to Yun Yongzhu without any hesitation or procrastination. By the way, Junior sister Wang, you are not in a hurry to get this pill, right? I need to comprehend this pill formula for at least 10 days and a half months, and it will probably take a long time to start the furnace. Uncle Yun, I'm not in a hurry. You can slowly comprehend it, and slowly start the furnace. 3 to 5 years is fine. Although Wang Xina praised Yun Yongzhu's alchemy skills, she was still a little nervous, fearing that the refining would fail, so she would not put pressure on Yun Yongzhu. Besides, Wang Xina had waited for Yun Yongzhu to come out of retreat for more than a month. She is only 28 years old now, and there are still more than 30 years before the best foundation building time limit. After Wang Xina handed all the spiritual medicine materials for refining the ice soul pill to Yun Yongzhu, she seemed to have put down a big stone in her heart. Uncle Yun, I will go back to Yuntai Peak first, and I won't bother you anymore. Wang Xina said goodbye to Yun Yongzhu happily, and left Piomio Peak easily. Yun Yongzhu was somewhat distressed and happy. He was distressed that he could not immediately investigate the origin and function of the silk handkerchief he accidentally obtained, and he was happy that he had obtained a precious recipe as soon as he returned to the sect. The task was not simple. He took the recipe of the ice soul pill in his hand and studied it carefully. The recipe of the ice soul pill did not contain many ingredients. There were only 168 ingredients, which was more than 60 less than the ingredients of the gathering spirit pill. Yun Yongzhu did not blindly accept Wang Xina's task. He had just read the recipe and had a general idea of the recipe of the ice soul pill. Unlike what he imagined, the main medicinal effect of the ice soul pill was not in the ice attribute spiritual medicine, but in the word soul. In this recipe, although there were 68 kinds of ice attribute spiritual medicines, the second level ice attribute spiritual medicine was only the second level low grade cold spirit ghost fruit. The key was that there was no taboo in the processing of these ice attribute spiritual medicines. This was very important, which meant that it would not affect the success rate of the pill. The main ingredient is the second grade superior soul grass, which is spicy and warm in nature, and has the effect of condensing the soul. However, the recipe even contains the first grade superior bone rotten spirit flower, and it feels that the taste of this pill is not wonderful after taking it. Yun Yongzhu sat in the pavilion and repeatedly looked at this extremely stimulating ice soul pill like a madman, muttering to himself, "Wonderful. It's really wonderful. You can actually think of using the bone rotten spirit flower as medicine. Even if you can successfully build your foundation after taking this pill, it will probably take a long time to recuperate." Chapter 235 Kingshan Academy. Yun Yongzhu carefully sorted out the medicinal properties and attributes of all the spiritual medicines in the recipe, and comprehended the medicinal properties and proportions of the ice soul pill. This is also a habit that Yun Yongzhu developed after experiencing the pill enlightenment, so that he can be flexible when refining the pill. After Yun Yongzhu engraved the refining process of the recipe, the amount and part of the spiritual medicine used, how to prepare it, etc. into his mind, more than 3 hours had passed. Yun Yongzhu looked up at the sky, and it was now the hour of the rooster. Although the recipe of the ice soul pill has been sorted out, he still needs to slowly ponder and settle it before refining it. Refining the ice soul pill is obviously not a matter of one day or one night. Yun Yongzhu thought of his mysterious white handkerchief again. Unable to hold back, he put away the recipe of the ice soul pill in his hand, left Piomio Peak, and went to the nearest Lotus Peak. Yun Yongzhu was going to the Kingshan Academy on Lotus Peak to look for clues about the brocade handkerchief-like magic weapon. He believed that the white handkerchief in his hand should be a magic weapon of extremely high grade. Piomio Peak is the spiritual peak where Jinden Zenran Huangcheng Sheng practices. There are no buildings such as the Sutra Pavilion, Kingshan Academy, and Mission Hall built on it, so he can only go to the nearby spiritual peaks where the inner disciples live to find information. The Sutra Pavilion contains scriptures and classics that are directly helpful to the cultivation of cultivators and can improve the cultivation, combat power, and skills of cultivators. Generally, they are cultivation methods, spells, magic skills, and body movements, and of course, various cultivation skills and experiences. The carriers are mostly jade slips, supplemented by books, the autobiographies, travel notes, etc. of various cultivators are generally not qualified to be collected in the Sutra Pavilion, and can only be collected in the Kingshan Academy. This academy is not that academy. This Kingshan Academy is not the kind of academy that teaches and educates people in the secular world, but just a place to collect cultivators' classics, and it is also a subordinate institution of the Sutra Pavilion. The books collected in Kingshan Academy include not only the autobiographies and travel notes of the monks, but also various experiences that are considered worthless. There are also the recorded history of the world of immortal cultivation and a development history of Kingshan sect for more than 10,000 years, as well as the customs and habits of various states, special spiritual objects, etc. Yun Yongzhu wanted to find clues about Fang Super, but there was no hope in the Sutra library. He could only try his luck in Kingshan Academy. After about a quarter of an hour, he appeared outside a huge building under the Lotus Peak. This is a large courtyard covering an area of nearly 10 acres, with 8 3-story buildings built inside, connected by a long corridor. Many low-level disciples sat in the corridor, looking for the content they needed. There are more than a dozen pavilions far apart in the courtyard. In some pavilions, there are several disciples in the late stage of key training, or even the early stage of foundation building. They drink tea and read books leisurely. Although the spiritual power here is relatively thin, the flowers and trees are lush, and the environment is quiet, it is really a good place to read. The classics and books in Kingshan Academy are not worthless. In fact, they can also be used as reference and auxiliary for cultivators. Therefore, this is not a free place. Kingshan Academy is different from the Sutra library. The classics in the Sutra library need to spend sect points to be recorded and see all the contents. However, there are no restrictions on the classics in Kingshan Academy. All books can be read at will, and even copied by yourself. Yun Yongzhu is not very familiar with this place, but he notes that all disciples need to pay spirit stone fees to enter Kingshan Academy, and the pavilion charges separately. He followed behind an inner sect disciple of the 9th level of key training, and walked to a small house not far from the entrance of the academy. Yun Yongzhu's spiritual sense saw that there were several outer sect disciples inside who were going through the admission procedures. Take out your ID card. How long will you stay? 1 night. 5 spirit stones. Watching the exchange between the two sides, Yun Yongzhu roughly understood that the Kingshan Academy on Lionhua Peak and the Kingshan Academy on Yuntai Peak were charged by time, but they were a little more expensive. The two of them quickly entered the room. The student who was doing his job, who was expressionless and business-like, immediately changed his expression when he saw the inner disciple in front of Yun Yongzhu who was at the 9th level of key training. Brother Ma, please take out your identity jade card. I need to register here. How long do you plan to stay in the academy? 1 night. Please pay the borrowing fee of 4 spirit stones. Yun Yongzhu raised his eyebrows. It seems that different identities require different fees. Soon the student who was doing the fee saw Yun Yongzhu. Before he could collect the spirit stone fee from the inner disciple in front of him, he walked in front of Yun Yongzhu with a flattering face. Excuse me, are you a senior uncle in the foundation building stage? Yun Yongzhu was puzzled. How did the other party see his cultivation level? He had clearly restrained the fluctuations of spiritual power in his body. He looked himself up and down, and then looked at the others. He immediately realized that it was from his clothes that he had revealed some clues. In Kingshan sect, all disciples and deacons, as long as their cultivation level is below foundation building, have clothing requirements. The clothes Yun Yongzhu wore were specially made for him by Yang Liu, so the other party discovered his cultivation level. He was thinking in his heart that if he disguised himself in the future, he must remember to pay attention to details. Everyone in the room saw Yun Yongzhu nod and saluted Yun Yongzhu. Uncle, please take out your identity jade card. I will register for you. Those who have a foundation building cultivation level or above in the sect only need to pay 3 spirit stones to stay in the academy for 3 days and 3 nights. Yun Yongzhu took out his identity card from the storage bag, and everyone was immediately surprised, and their attitude became more respectful. Uncle Master, you are a direct disciple. The sect has a rule that, as long as you are a direct disciple, you only need to show your ID card to enter any Kingshan Academy. You can go in directly now. There is no time limit. You are free to go in. Since there is no fee, it is even better. You know, he doesn't know how many times he needs to come to this Kingshan Academy to find a word about the handkerchief. Yun Yongzhu put away his ID card and went to the nearest small building in the courtyard. He did not flip through the books blindly and casually, but directly found the category of magic weapon legends, cleared out the entire bookshelf, and then found an empty room. He performed the object control technique and suspended nearly 100 books in the air. Then he quickly scanned and flipped through them with his spiritual sense. In almost an instant's stick of time, he was able to roughly read these nearly 100 books. Yun Yongzhu's method of reading books can only be performed by cultivators above the foundation building stage. Reading books in this way is too noisy, so Yun Yongzhu found this empty room. It's a pity that Yun Yongzhu didn't gain anything useful after reading an entire bookshelf of books. Chapter 236, Unexpected Gains. The bookshelves in Kingshan Academy are all specially made large bookshelves, and each bookshelf has at least 300 to 500 books. Although Yun Yongzhu's spiritual sense is stronger than that of the cultivators of the same level, it is limited after all. In 2 hours, he quickly flipped through 4 large bookshelves, and felt that his spiritual sense was almost completely consumed, but his spiritual power was still about 20% left. Yun Yongzhu had to stop such actions. After all, spiritual sense is the embodiment of his soul power. Once the spiritual sense is completely exhausted, it will hurt his soul. He pressed on his temples and rubbed them gently, but his brows were tightly locked. Looking for clues like him was like looking for a needle in a haystack. This Kingshan Academy is known as the Kingshan Sea of Books, and it is not a false reputation. This Kingshan Academy on Lotus Peak has 8 3-story buildings. Each floor is placed with hundreds of bookshelves. One bookshelf has hundreds of books, a small building has about 30,000 books, and 8 buildings have 240,000 books. However, in Kingshan sect, there are more than 100 Kingshan Academies. It will take him forever to finish reading these tens of millions of classics. Yun Yongzhu had a headache. What should he do? Although he had no other choice, he still did not stop. Since he could not use his spiritual sense, he would just use his naked eyes. Yun Yongzhu changed his mind this time. Since there was no clue in the category of magic weapon legends, he specifically selected those books that were old and made of ancient materials. According to his idea, the older the classics, the more secretive the contents recorded. Sure enough, he made the right choice. Yun Yongzhu had only read a few books when he found that all the classics were recorded in ancient characters. 18 ways to cook Suzinjuan. How could the ancient monks still teach people to cook? Suzinjuan is a first-grade superior vegetable, similar to the cabbage in the mortal world, with a sweet and fragrant taste. It was not what he needed at first glance. Yun Yongzhu did not even look at it, and threw it aside, and picked up the next one. Ancient Secrets. This name again. Can't it be a bit innovative? It's always secrets. If it's really secrets, how can it be known to others? Although he muttered this, Yun Yongzhu still opened the ancient book, just in case it records the information of ancient magic weapons. When he opened it, although the text used more ancient characters, it did not change the fact that it was just an ancient essay. The ancient times can be roughly divided into 2 major eras, the prehistoric and the ancient times. There are more than a dozen mainstream characters used by monks in these 2 eras. Yun Yongzhu's level of ancient Chinese is not bad. After worshipping Huang Changsheng, he was urged to continue to study ancient characters and ancient languages. Now he can write 2 ancient characters skillfully, and can also recognize 2 characters from the prehistoric era. This book Ancient Secrets is written in the characters of the prehistoric era. Therefore, Yun Yongzhu did not put it away immediately, but took a rough look. Judging from the content inside, it should be the daily life of a second-level upper-grade spiritual chef. Yun Yongzhu was somewhat puzzled by the contents, as if being a spiritual chef was a supremely glorious and sacred profession, and seemed to be highly respected and admired. He continued to read, and the more he read, the more outrageous it was, saying that after eating a spiritual meal, he could directly advance from the foundation building stage to the golden elixir stage. Isn't this nonsense? He has never heard of any spiritual meal that can directly improve the cultivation of a cultivator so much. Even if it is a pill, in his knowledge, there are only 3 or 2 kinds of spiritual pills that can assist in the formation of the pill, and they are all extremely precious spiritual medicines. In Yun Yongzhu's cognition, a spiritual chef is a relatively easy to get started profession in the immortal cultivation, which can only provide a little assistance to oneself and others. Many people who want to become alchemists, instrument refiners or talisman makers have no talent or sufficient resources, so they can only choose other immortal cultivation skills as a second choice. This spiritual chef and spiritual chef are one of the choices. Yun Yongzhu flipped through a few pages and threw it aside. This is completely nonsense. Then he picked up another ancient book and flipped through it. As soon as he opened it, he suddenly realized that there seemed to be something wrong with the ancient secrets. He held an ancient book in his hand and pondered what was wrong. Half a quarter of an hour passed, and he still couldn't figure out what was wrong. Yun Yongzhu put down the ancient book in his hand and picked up the ancient secrets again and flipped through it carefully page by page. He looked at it page by page, and there was nothing wrong. He turned to the last page he saw, and that was where the problem was. Yun Yongzhu twisted it, and this page was thicker than the other papers. Yun Yongzhu checked carefully and found that this paper was indeed slightly thicker. When he just recognized the words in this ancient secrets, he found that the paper used to write this ancient book was the golden sandalwood rhinoceros paper that had been lost in ancient times. This kind of golden sandalwood rhinoceros paper is widely loved and sought after by people because of its unique fragrance, hard texture, and not easy to be damaged. It can be preserved for thousands of years. According to legend, only those with a golden elixir cultivation level or above can afford to use this kind of paper. However, golden sandalwood is rare, and rhinoceros horn is even more difficult to obtain, so it only circulated in the prehistoric era. In the ancient times, it was difficult to find its trace. This is also one of the reasons why Yun Yongzhu looked through this ancient book. He thought about it, took out a dagger, and carefully fiddled with the footer of this thicker paper. After a while, Yun Yongzhu really separated a piece of paper that was as thin as a cicada's wing from the paper. Yun Yongzhu almost didn't need to identify it. This was cicada wing paper, which was also a product of the prehistoric era. Its preciousness was even greater than that of golden sandalwood rhinoceros paper. Just as its name said, this cicada wing paper was called cicada wing paper because it was as thin as a cicada's wing. Although he knew that cicada wing paper was a third level upper grade spiritual paper and would not be easily damaged, Yun Yongzhu still carefully peeled this cicada wing paper off the golden sandalwood rhinoceros paper bit by bit. Yun Yongzhu carefully held the cicada wing paper, and after a while, densely packed words appeared on it. Yun Yongzhu read the above content carefully and felt a little surprised and delighted. It was recorded that in ancient times, spiritual chefs were the most popular and honorable profession in the cultivation world, with a status equivalent to that of today's alchemists, or even higher than that of alchemists. If the ancient cultivators wanted to quickly improve and break through the realm of cultivation, they only needed to find spiritual medicines and fruits, and hunt monsters to eat directly. This is the simplest way, and the best way is to take these spiritual herbs, spiritual medicines, and monster meat, and ask the spiritual chef to make spiritual food for consumption. As long as they pass through the hands of the spiritual chef, these spiritual objects will produce various magical effects, and the spiritual power contained will increase exponentially and be easy to absorb. In addition to the above brief content, what surprised Yun Yongzhu the most was that the cicada wing paper also recorded a method for processing spiritual food materials, called spirit locking technique. The paper recorded that this method was the basic method for spiritual chefs to get started, and its function was to make the spiritual energy contained in the ingredients difficult to dissipate. Yun Yongzhu is not a spiritual chef, so he doesn't know what spells and incantations a spiritual chef should learn. He only learned a little from his 10th sister Yun Yongzhu. They need to perform special treatment on the spiritual materials before cooking to remove their impurities, and they also have to retain the essence of the spiritual materials when cooking, so that they can make spiritual food with abundant spiritual power and beneficial to the cultivation of the monks. The entire process of making spiritual food is inseparable from the spells and incantations of the spiritual chef. If the spell on the cicada wing paper is true, then its value is immeasurable. Even if it is just a spell, the benefits that can be discovered are no less than Yun Yongzhu's Yongzhu Memorandum. It seems that the authenticity of the content recorded in this ancient secrets is very high. With this unexpected harvest, Yun Yongzhu no longer has the heart to look for clues to the super magic weapon. He packed up all the piled up classics and put them back on the bookshelf, then hurried out of Kingayan Academy, flew out of Lotus Peak, and returned to Loyan Hall on Piomio Peak. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 237, Soul Locking Technique. At this time, the moon was already bright outside, but the impact of day and night on cultivators was not as great as that on mortals, especially for a foundation building cultivator. There was almost no impact. After Yun Yongzhu returned to the bedroom of his cave, he could not wait to take out the cicada wing paper. He carefully read the contents recorded on it. The soul locking technique is mainly a spell to be cast on the ingredients used before cooking spiritual food, which can lock the spiritual energy contained in the ingredients and prevent them from dissipating. As for more detailed effects, only practice can know. As a basic spell for spiritual chefs, there is no restriction on cultivation and practice. However, although Yun Yongzhu has not yet fully comprehended the spell casting spell of soul locking technique, he also realized the extraordinary nature of this spell. Just the basic spell to get started, it has reached the second level. Was the entry requirement for spiritual chefs in ancient times so high? No matter what he thought in his heart, he knew that this spiritual spell should be difficult for low-level cultivators in the key training period to practice. Yun Yongzhu had some guesses in his mind, and felt that this soul-locking art might be of some help to his alchemy. Because both spiritual chefs and alchemists need to process spiritual materials in the early stage, and they also pay attention to the heat, matching, etc. The only difference is the ingredients and spiritual medicine. Therefore, even if practicing a spiritual art requires him to spend a lot of time and energy, he intends to learn this soul locking art. As for whether to practice it to the great success level, he will have to wait until the soul locking art is introduced and practiced before making a decision. After all, this is just his guess, and whether it will help him depends on the effect. Although through those ancient books, Yun Yongzhu guessed that a long time ago, the status of spiritual chefs should be very respected, but now the times are different. For some unknown reason, the inheritance of spiritual chefs has been cut off for the most part. Although the spiritual and medicinal foods cooked by spiritual chefs and spiritual chefs are somewhat helpful to the cultivation of cultivators, they cannot be compared with elixirs at all. Moreover, Yun Yongzhu has never seen a third-level spiritual chef in all these years in the sect, which shows how withered the inheritance of spiritual chefs is. Therefore, although Yun Yongzhu will practice this soul-locking technique, he will definitely not spend more time and energy on spiritual food. At most, he will steam spiritual rice in the future to perform this technique. However, this spiritual technique can be brought back to the family for the clan members to practice. When they have practiced successfully, they can plan to open a restaurant and spiritual food shop in Yunzhou. At that time, many clan members in the family will benefit and obtain more resources for cultivating immortals. This is much simpler than the inheritance of the other 3 immortal cultivation skills in the family, and there are no great requirements for talent. After all, not everyone has a talent for refining tools, making talismans, and refining pills, and not all clan members have enough capital to learn these skills. However, these are just Yun Yongzhu's beautiful imagination for the future development of the family. He took out a piece of first grade upper grade Kingling Heart Jade and recorded this soul locking technique with his divine consciousness. Kingling Heart Jade is much more precious than Beishu Heart Jade. Even the jade slip made by Yun Yongzhu so simply can be used for 2 years. If the grade is higher, the use time will be longer. After the jade slip was finished, Yun Yongzhu put it into the storage bag, ready to give it to the clan leader after returning to the family. Then he solemnly put the cicada wing paper into the small underground secret room under his bedroom. In the secret room, Yun Yongzhu looked at the pure white silk handkerchief on the upper shelf and couldn't help feeling very strange. Thinking that he was eager to return to the sect because he got this handkerchief by accident, but on the first day of his return, he encountered 2 good things in succession. The first thing was naturally Wang Xina's request for him to refine the ice soul pill. This ice soul pill was an elixir that Yun Yongzhu had never heard of. Before the pill was refined, he got the first benefit, a second level barrier breaking pill recipe. Moreover, this pill recipe was not obtained by Yun Yongzhu from the sect. He could take it back to Yunwu Mountain without any obstacles and keep it as the family's heritage. The second benefit is that, whether he can refine this ice soul pill or not, it will definitely be beneficial to his alchemy. As for the third, it depends on the result of refining. If the pill can be made, Wang Xina will owe Yun Yongzhu a big favor. The second good thing is naturally the unexpected harvest of this trip to Qingshan Academy. It is unknown how long this ancient book has been in the Qingshan Academy on Lionhua Mountain. If it were not for finding clues to the mysterious super, Yun Yongzhu would not have had the opportunity to read this ancient book. Of course, Yun Yongzhu's unremitting study of ancient texts and languages also contributed to his acquisition of this spiritual art. Yun Yongzhu picked up the super and couldn't help but doubt again. Is this handkerchief really a magic weapon? He has read nearly 1,000 ancient books today, and more than 400 books on magic weapons, but there is no mention of handkerchiefs, sacred instruments, and spiritual treasures. Yun Yongzhu is really more and more interested in this handkerchief, and he will not give up easily. He put down the super, walked out of the secret room, and returned to the bedroom. He found that it was almost the time of Mao, so he simply sat down and meditated. After more than an hour, Yun Yongzhu stopped practicing the burning wood technique. After more than an hour of practice, Yun Yongzhu's spiritual consciousness that he consumed at night was mostly restored. With the experience of reading the classics that night, Yun Yongzhu knew that the matter of the mysterious super could not be rushed, and the locking soul technique could not be mastered in a short time. The most urgent task was to comprehend the ice soul pill formula as soon as possible and refine it as soon as possible and hand it over to Wang Xina. So Yun Yongzhu went to the pavilion in the courtyard to continue comprehending the ice soul pill formula. In addition to some spiritual medicines with relatively large damage, there are also many spiritual medicines for healing in this recipe. Although most of these healing spiritual herbs and flowers are of ice and water attributes, they are perfect for ice spiritual root cultivators. Moreover, among these healing spiritual herbs, there is a second level top grade spiritual medicine, rejuvenation grass. This rejuvenation grass is much stronger than the second level middle grade bone flower, and it is also the main medicine for refining rejuvenation pill. As for the rejuvenating pill, it is a second level healing elixir handed down from ancient times that is much more precious than the recovery pill. Although the rejuvenating pill does not have the miraculous effect of regenerating broken limbs like the renewing pill and the limb regeneration pill, all other external and internal injuries, no matter how serious, can be cured after taking the rejuvenating pill. Even if the meridians in the cultivator's body are broken and the internal organs are ruptured, the rejuvenating pill can restore them to their original state. In a word, no matter how serious the injury is, taking the rejuvenating pill can save a life. I don't know where Xina got this rejuvenating grass, Yun Yongzhu murmured to himself. Even if the rejuvenating grass is not used as medicine, it has a great healing effect when taken raw. It is really a precious spiritual herb. This is not a spiritual medicine that a key training cultivator can easily obtain. It was no wonder that junior sister Wang had to wait until he came out of retreat and asked him to refine the ice soul pill. Although Yun Yongzhu was highly skilled in refining pills, she also trusted Yun Yongzhu and would not take away the precious spiritual herbs in the recipe. Why did the recipe use he grass to neutralize the medicinal properties instead of silverleaf grass? How can the rejuvenating grass be compatible with the rotten bone spiritual flower? Chapter 238, Ice Soul Pill. 20 days later, in Loyan Palace, Wasu residence, in the alchemy room, Yun Yongzhu was standing in front of the alchemy table with his eyes closed, rehearsing the entire process of refining the ice soul pill in his mind. After a while, he opened his eyes in a flash, and his whole body was full of confidence. Yun Yongzhu waved his hand, and more than 480 jade boxes of various sizes covered most of the alchemy stone table. He used the object control technique to open all the jade boxes, and then began to deal with the various spiritual herbs and flowers on the table in an orderly manner. The 3 portions of materials prepared by Wang Xina were not 3 portions in the ordinary sense. In fact, they were just one spiritual medicine material. This ice soul pill recipe was not complete, and he didn't know how many full pills a complete material had. Yun Yongzhu estimated that the one refining material she mentioned could only refine 4 pills at most. This was still the smallest proportion that Wang Xina split according to the proportion of the ice soul pill recipe materials, otherwise she would definitely split this one material into more portions. Of course, because Wang Xina was a layman, she didn't dare to make a move on the spiritual medicines casually, so she just prepared 2 more of the spiritual medicines that were easy to get in the recipe. After Yun Yongzhu understood Wang Xina's approach, he was very pleased with her approach. This did not affect the efficacy of the spiritual medicines, nor did it affect the opening of the furnace to make the pills. This was also a mistake on Wang Xina's part, because the amount of materials in one portion of some pills was fixed, and could not be split. Also, because the materials of the ice soul pill were split into 3 portions, Yun Yongzhu's procedures for processing the spiritual medicine materials also increased a lot. In addition to removing the parts of the spiritual medicines that cannot be used, removing the toxicity of some spiritual medicines, and reducing the toxins of some spiritual medicines, it is also necessary to accurately cut the amount of all spiritual medicines used as medicines. Although many of the spiritual medicines in the ice soul pill recipe were handled by Yun Yongzhu for the first time, his skills were not unfamiliar. He could not be said to be perfect, but he was slow and easy. About half an hour later, Yun Yongzhu finally sorted out the materials for a portion of the ice soul pill and prepared it. He carefully put away the remaining dozen or so precious ingredients, especially the main ingredient, the extreme soul grass and 2 second-level spiritual medicines, and then began the process of warming the furnace. The remaining 2 ingredients of the ice soul pill could not have any mistakes. After all, Yun Yongzhu could not guarantee that the first batch of ice soul pills would be able to be refined. After about 5 or 6 breaths, Yun Yongzhu poured the second-level high-quality spiritual spring water specially prepared by Wang Xina into the purple gold furnace. Then he began to put in the first batch of spiritual medicines for the ice soul pill in an orderly manner. 1/3 of the extreme soul grass plant, 2 petals of the snake flower, 2 petals of the frost face flower, 1 leaf of the black mysterious grass, 2 leaves of the condensed dew grass. Because the spiritual power cultivated by Yun Yongzhu was of the wood and fire attribute, which conflicted with the attributes of some spiritual medicine materials, he controlled the wood heart true fire very carefully, and the spiritual power output was weak. Therefore, the power of the wood heart true fire was not great, which invisibly increased the difficulty and time of Yun Yongzhu's refining of the ice soul pill. However, Yun Yongzhu had no other choice. If the fire spirit power was used too much, the refining speed would be increased, but the chance of success would be reduced a little bit. There were more than 50 kinds of spiritual medicine materials in this first batch. Under the smelting of the wood heart true fire, it took nearly an hour and a half to gradually melt into liquid medicine. After observing that the first batch of spiritual medicine materials were successfully melted into liquid medicine, Yun Yongzhu followed the steps and threw 1/3 of the flesh of the cold spirit ghost fruit, 2 petals of the rotten bone spirit flower, 2 leaves of the blood withered grass, and nearly 60 kinds of spiritual medicines into the purple gold furnace. Yun Yongzhu used the 9 turns tempering technique in the 9 turns alchemy art to temper the liquid medicine at the bottom of the purple gold furnace, while carefully melting the second batch of spiritual medicine materials put into the furnace. Most of this batch of spiritual herbs and spiritual medicines were poisonous grasses and flowers. Although the toxicity was weakened after Yun Yongzhu's treatment, due to the large number, their toxic side effects were still very alarming. Yun Yongzhu paid close attention to the changes in all the spiritual medicine materials put into the purple gold pill furnace, fearing that the liquid medicine melted from this batch of spiritual medicine would have a violent reaction with the liquid medicine of the first batch. You know, there is only one spiritual medicine he grass in this pill recipe. If the 2 batches of liquid medicine cannot be successfully blended at this time, then this furnace of pills will basically be useless. Fortunately, more than an hour later, although this batch of spiritual medicine had a wave of turbulence when it just dissolved, it finally successfully merged with the liquid medicine of more than 50 spiritual medicines in front. Yun Yongzhu then threw all the spiritual medicines, except the he grass, into the purple gold pill furnace. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Yun Yongzhu also threw 2 high-grade key recovering pills into his mouth. Because he did not use much spiritual power to open the furnace this time, He actually still had more than 50% of the spiritual power left in his body. However, Yun Yongzhu's consciousness was consumed a lot in the past 3 hours. He didn't have any elixir that could directly restore his spiritual consciousness, so he could only take the key recovering elixir to restore his spiritual power and relieve his spiritual fatigue. Most of the spiritual herbs that were put into the furnace at the end had the function of removing poison and healing wounds, and their medicinal properties were either warm or neutral. Spiritual herbs of this nature should have been easy to use as medicine, but these spiritual herbs were strong, and many of the previous spiritual herbs contained toxins, so when the two met, there would be a very violent reaction, and the furnace would explode if one was not careful. Therefore, this step was also the most critical step in the recipe of the Ice Soul Pill. The reason why Yun Yongzhu left the he grass alone was that he wanted to put it in at the right time. About half an hour later, this batch of spiritual herbs finally showed signs of softening. Yun Yongzhu took the last spiritual herb left on the stone platform, the he grass, which had a harmonizing effect, in his hand, ready to put it in at any time. When the first drop of liquid medicine was melted out of the Huchin grass, the purple dragon whiskers and other spiritual herbs, and before it was dripped into the liquid medicine at the bottom of the purple gold furnace, he felt that the time was right and threw the he grass in. After 2 or 3 breaths, the drop of liquid medicine directly passed through the wood heart true fire and merged into the large mass of liquid medicine at the bottom of the purple gold furnace. At this moment, the calm liquid medicine at the bottom of the furnace began to boil, and there was no sign of the fluctuation of the liquid medicine stopping. Yun Yongzhu watched this scene nervously. His years of experience in alchemy prompted him to firmly control the temperature of the wood heart true fire in the purple gold furnace. He did not increase or decrease the output of fire spiritual power because of nervousness. Just when the amplitude of the liquid medicine fluctuation was about to touch the spiritual medicine that was gradually liquefied above the wood heart fire, the he grass melted into juice in time and ripped into the boiling liquid medicine. The power of the he grass liquid was very strong. The liquid medicine, which was originally like boiling water, was instantly calmed down. It was really a case of one thing conquering another. Yun Yongzhu also breathed a sigh of relief and continued to calmly smelt the spiritual medicine such as Huchin grass. After half an incense stick, all the spiritual medicines were melted, and their liquid medicines were also quenched by the 9-turn quenching technique. Yun Yongzhu's wood heart true fire was tightly attached to the bottom of the purple gold furnace. The seals in his hand were flying and changing, and he used the 9 turns refining technique to continue to refine the liquid medicine of the Ice Soul Pill. The reason why he dared to take on Wang Xina's second level barrier breaking pill order was not only because he had the wood heart true fire, but also because he had the 9 turns refining alchemy technique as his confidence. Nearly an hour and a half later, the liquid medicine in the purple gold furnace was refined twice by Yun Yongzhu. He felt that his spiritual sense had consumed nearly 80% and knew that he had no extra strength to continue to refine the liquid medicine, so the seal in his hand changed and pinched out a 9 turns melting pill technique. As soon as the spell was hit into the purple gold furnace, the small ball of viscous liquid smaller than a ping pong ball suddenly emitted a hint of golden luster. In about a breath, Yun Yongzhu felt that it was just right to condense the pill at this time. Without much consideration, the 9 turns melting pill technique in his hand changed into the seal of the 9 turns condensing pill technique. Under the 9-turn pill condensation art, the viscous medicinal liquid in the purple gold furnace suddenly seemed to be hit by the swish wind art, and it spun and formed in the furnace at a speed that could not be captured by the divine consciousness. Even though this ball of viscous liquid was nearly the size of a ping pong ball, in the end only one pill spun and formed in the furnace. Yun Yongzhu performed a 9-turn pill collection art to hit it, and the lid of the purple gold furnace opened automatically. A miraculous pill with a strong medicinal fragrance quickly entered the jade bottle beside Yun Yongzhu's stone platform. There was still a lot of grey-black powder left in the purple gold furnace, which was the dregs of the medicine. Yun Yongzhu ignored it. He quickly went to the jade bottle to take a look and relaxed. A light golden pill stayed quietly inside. The 20 days of hard work were not in vain. The hard work just now also had good results. The Ice Soul Pill was refined. Chapter 239 Emoliana. Yun Yongzhu had not expected that he would succeed in refining the ice soul pill for the first time, and he was somewhat delighted. You know, when Yun Yongzhu first refined the gathering spirit pill, he failed repeatedly and only succeeded in producing one pill on the fourth time. Although the reason for the failure was the factor of the 9 turns of shattering pills in the 9 turns of alchemy, it still shows that it is not easy to refine the second level pill. Yun Yongzhu picked up the jade bottle, poured the ice soul pill in it into the palm of his hand, and then observed it carefully. After confirming that this was a medium grade ice soul pill, he was even more happy and quickly put the pill back into the jade bottle and carefully stored it. Then Yun Yongzhu found an empty place in the alchemy room and sat down cross-legged. After taking a high-grade gathering key pill, he practiced the burning wood technique to restore his spiritual power and consciousness. About an hour later, he opened his eyes, got up and walked to the alchemy table and took out the dozen jade boxes of spiritual medicines that he had collected before. Yun Yongzhu wanted to strike while the iron was hot and refine all the remaining 2 batches of ice soul pill materials. After all, these spiritual medicines have been cut into pieces. If they are not refined and used as soon as possible, no matter how well they are preserved, the medicinal properties of the spiritual medicines will still be lost, and the chance of making a pill will be even lower. With a medium quality ice soul pill as a foundation, Yun Yongzhu's mentality for the next refining was much calmer. He also smoothly refined an ice soul pill with the second batch of spiritual medicine materials, but unfortunately the quality was only low grade. However, when the third batch of spiritual medicine materials were smelted at the last time, the changes in the spiritual medicine liquid were not grasped well, so the pill was wasted before it was quenched. Fortunately, Yun Yongzhu was experienced and injected several water bull spells into the purple gold pill furnace in time to dilute the violently rolling medicine liquid inside, thus preventing the danger of the furnace exploding. The failure of the last batch of ice soul pills did not affect Yun Yongzhu's good mood. He left the alchemy room with ease. He wanted to call the attendants to clean up the alchemy room, but found that it was already the early morning of the next day outside the alchemy room. Judging from the sky, it will be the hour of Mao in a quarter of an hour. Yun Yongzhu returned to the alchemy room and spent a lot of time cleaning the room before coming to the courtyard. He took out a communication talisman and sent it out, telling Wang Xina that he had refined the ice soul pill she needed and asked her to take time to pick it up. Then he sat on the stone bench and took out his Yongzhu memorandum, copying the recipe and refining experience of the ice soul pill while waiting for Wang Xina to come. Yun Yongzhu wrote quickly. In the time of half an incense stick, he recorded the detailed process of refining the ice soul pill, and it also contained some of his understanding of the recipe and unverifiable conjectures. Just as Yun Yongzhu had just put down the last stroke, he saw a purple spiritual light coming towards the Lowen Hall from afar. Soon the purple light entered the Lowen Hall, and then entered the range of Yun Yongzhu's consciousness. It turned out to be a communication paper crane. Yun Yongzhu had some guesses in his heart. This should not be the communication talisman sent by Wang Xina. There is a long distance between Xiante and Biomio Peak. Wang Xina probably hasn't received the communication talisman he sent. He stretched out his palm, and the purple paper crane really landed on his palm. Junior brother, I heard that you came back from Yunzhou. Why don't you come to my Lotus residence? Since you don't come to my place, I have to come to find you. It turned out to be Yun Yongzhu's third senior sister Emolina. Her cave is located 3,000 feet above Biomio Peak. Therefore, Yun Yongzhu had the most contact with this third senior sister Emolina on Biomio Peak, except for his master and his wife. It's not that the eldest and second senior brothers alienated him, but because Yun Yongzhu's cultivation level was low, they often couldn't get along. Even if it was Emolina, Yun Yongzhu only had more contact with her when he was preparing to enter the Zuanshan secret realm. At that time, Emolina helped Yun Yongzhu a lot, and he has always kept this matter in mind. Hearing that the third sister was going to come down the mountain to his cave, Yun Yongzhu quickly put away the Yongzhu memorandum and casually threw a communication talisman to Wang Yiming, asking him to prepare spiritual tea for the reception, and he personally went to the main gate of Loyan Hall to greet her. Yun Yongzhu waited for a moment at the gate outside the cave, and then saw a girl in pink palace clothes flying down from the sky. It was Yun Yongzhu's third sister Emolina. "Third sister, you are here. Please come in quickly." Yun Yongzhu greeted her warmly before Emolina even stepped on the ground. "Little brother, we haven't seen each other for more than 3 months, since the master's wife's golden elixir ceremony. Why didn't you tell me that you came back? How are you? Is everything okay with your family?" Emolina complained a little and asked about the situation of Yun Yongzhu's family with some concern. "Third senior sister, it's my fault. I forgot. Thank you for your concern. Everything is fine in my family. With the support of master and master's wife, even if it was not good before, it is fine now." As they talked, they walked into the Wasu residence of Loyan Hall, which was the courtyard where Yun Yongzhu lived. Yun Yongzhu took Emolina to a small pavilion and sat down and served the spiritual tea prepared by Wang Yiming. "Third senior sister, please have some tea. What is the matter with you coming here this time?" Yun Yongzhu has always been a straightforward person. He is always straightforward when he asks for help. When others want to ask him for help, he also hopes that others will be more straightforward. "Little junior brother, look at what you said. If I don't have something to do, can't I come to your Loyan Hall to sit down?" "Of course, my third senior sister can come here whenever she wants. Not to mention sitting down, you can stay. After all, third senior sister Emolina is also a big beauty. It's good to look at her to relax." "That's a nice thought. The main reason I came here this time is to ask junior brother if he can refine the gathering spirit pill now. I want to buy the gathering spirit pill needed for my cultivation from junior brother. Do you think it's okay?" Yun Yongzhu thought it was something else, but it turned out to be just a trivial matter like the gathering spirit pill. "Third senior sister, the gathering spirit pill for your cultivation is in my hands. I will give you enough." Yun Yongzhu was not bragging. The pills that increase cultivation have a limit on the amount of pills. The slow grade gathering spirit pill should be taken every 4 months, and 3 pills can last for a year. So even if Yun Yongzhu's success rate in refining the gathering spirit pill is very low now, he can still say this. Emolina was amazed to see junior brother talking so confidently. "I have heard of Master ZHU's name for a long time, and I often hear Master talk about your alchemy skills. I didn't expect that I would see it today. Junior brother, can you really make the gathering spirit pill now?" It's no wonder that Emolina couldn't believe it. You have to know that Yun Yongzhu has only been building his foundation for less than half a year. Moreover, during these 6 months, he was busy with Guana's golden pill ceremony for 2 months, and the rest of the time he was traveling back and forth between the sect and Yunzhou. During this period, it is estimated that junior brother didn't have much free time to study alchemy. She didn't have much hope when she came here this time. She just came to make a preliminary visit. When junior brother can refine the second level gathering spirit pill, he will think of her first. "Third senior sister, let me say this first. My gathering spirit pill is of low quality. You will know when I take the pill to Lotus residence in a few days. Senior sister, I was just shocked by your superb alchemy talent. Not that I don't believe you." "That's good." Third senior sister. Chapter 240, Immortal God Technique. Before Yun Yongzhu finished speaking, Wang Yiming entered Wasu residence, obviously with something to report. "Sir, Fairy Wang is here, and is already waiting in the main courtyard. Is it your confidant from the inner sect?" Yun Yongzhu was embarrassed when he heard Emolina's teasing, and shook his head repeatedly to deny it. "Third senior sister, junior sister Wang is just my good friend. Don't talk nonsense." Emolina covered her mouth and chuckled. "Little junior brother, you are really funny. Senior sister is just teasing you. Go quickly, I don't have anything to do. Just go back to Lionhu residence first. Remember to help me refine the gathering spirit pill. Senior sisterling, she will not give you a penny less." After saying that, she twisted her waist and walked out of the courtyard, familiar with the way. Yun Yongzhu shook his head helplessly. Why did the third senior sister love to tease people so much? He walked straight to the main courtyard, and just as he stepped in, Wang Xina immediately stood up from her chair. After she hurriedly bowed, she hurriedly asked Yun Yongzhu about the ice soul pill. Uncle Yun, you really made the ice soul pill, and it's been less than a month. Yun Yongzhu took out 2 small jade bottles from his storage bag. How can this be fake? Here, this is the ice soul pill you wanted. There are 2, one low grade and one medium grade. Wang Xin looked at the 2 small bottles handed over by Yun Yongzhu with burning eyes, ecstatic. Although she was very confident in Yun Yongzhu's alchemy skills, no one could be sure that the pill would be made, especially since she knew that Yun Yongzhu's spiritual power conflicted with the spiritual power attributes of some spiritual medicines used to refine the ice soul pill. Wang Xin took a deep breath, restrained her emotions, and said to Yun Yongzhu, Uncle Yun, this ice soul pill cannot be used in combination. I only need one, and the remaining one will be left to you. Yun Yongzhu thought about it. Although this ice soul pill only plays a big role for cultivators with ice spirit roots, it also has a 20% foundation building effect on cultivators who practice other attribute skills. It is also a very precious elixir. It is not bad to collect one. It is hard to guarantee that there will be a seedling with ice spirit roots in the family in the future. Moreover, this ice soul pill is a 2nd level elixir. If it is sealed in a better container, it will not be a problem to preserve it for 200 years. Okay, then you can use this middle grade ice soul pill. Yun Yongzhu does not need the ice soul pill at present, and collecting a low grade one is enough. Thank you, Uncle Yun. I have nothing on me now. I will thank you slowly after I succeed in building my foundation. You and I are both disciples of Qingshan sect. We came from Yun's house together. We have known each other for so many years. There is no need to be so polite. I just hope that you can call me Brother Yun next time we meet. Thank you for your good words. I will take my leave first. After getting the elixir, Wang Xin had no intention of staying in Pomeo Peak any longer. She couldn't wait to return to Yuntai Peak to start building her foundation. Wait a minute, I have something else to give you. In front of Wang Xin, Yun Yongzhu took out a piece of green hard jade, quickly recorded his foundation building process and experience, and then handed the jade slip to Wang Xin. Yun Yongzhu was a good person to the end, and he also hoped that Wang Xin could successfully build her foundation. After all, the favor of a foundation building cultivator is much more valuable than the favor of a key training cultivator. Thank you very much, Uncle Yun. Wang Xin bowed deeply to Yun Yongzhu and left. Yun Yongzhu looked at the small jade bottle in his hand and went to Huju. He wanted to store the ice soul pill in the secret room. After coming out of the secret room, Yun Yongzhu had a white silk handkerchief in his hand. He played with it casually and pondered how to use it. This handkerchief could not even be burned by the wood heart true fire. It was good to use it as a defensive magic weapon. It was a pity that this handkerchief was only a small piece. Should it be placed on the chest or on the heart? Yun Yongzhu walked to the yard, lay on the recliner, and casually covered his head with the handkerchief. Unexpectedly, just as Yun Yongzhu was thinking hard, a lot of information suddenly flooded into his mind. He felt a splitting headache, and the sea of consciousness was even more turbulent. Yun Yongzhu hugged his head with both hands. He had no time to dodge, and he had no mind to read the huge amount of inexplicable information that entered his mind. I don't know how long it took. Just when Yun Yongzhu's sea of consciousness was about to split and almost fainted, the huge amount of information finally entered Yun Yongzhu's mind. Yun Yongzhu was covered with sweat. He sighed, relaxed, put his hands down from his head, and at the same time, pulled off the mysterious white scarf covering his face. He knew that the inexplicable pain he had just experienced must be related to this scarf. Thinking back at this time, Yun Yongzhu still had lingering fears. He felt that, if he hadn't held on just now, the result would definitely not be so wonderful. Yun Yongzhu's mind sank into the Zukiyo acupoint at the center of his eyebrows, and entered his sea of consciousness to investigate. This sea of consciousness was formed after Yun Yongzhu built his foundation. Except for a crystal clear sphere in the center of the sea of consciousness, there was nothing inside. In the entire sea of consciousness, only the space of 66 feet in radius with this sphere as the center was bright, and it was just pitch black in the distance. In Yun Yongzhu's sea of consciousness, a profound and difficult rune appeared inexplicably. With Yun Yongzhu's nearly 30 years of knowledge, he was unable to identify whether the rune was a word or a rune pattern. Yun Yongzhu's mind carefully touched the rune, and he immediately received a huge and continuous stream of information. In just a moment, Yun Yongzhu felt a splitting headache again, as if his head was about to burst. He quickly got away from the mysterious rune, and stayed away from it, which made him feel much more comfortable. Then Yun Yongzhu's mind left the sea of consciousness, and he opened his eyes ecstatically, with an uncontrollable joy in his eyes. Yun Yongzhu couldn't help but jump up from the recliner, and his whole body was in high spirits. He wanted to roar loudly and vent his joy. The reason why Yun Yongzhu was so excited was that he had just touched the mysterious rune in his sea of consciousness for less than a breath, and he read a cultivation method, and it was a method for cultivating the primordial spirit. He knew very well how precious the method of cultivating the primordial spirit was. As a disciple of the Jinden Zenran of the Kingshan sect, he was not qualified to touch any of the methods of cultivating the primordial spirit in the sect. No matter what the reason was, it was enough to prove how precious this method was. According to legends and records in ancient books, practicing this method can not only strengthen the primordial spirit, but also greatly assist the cultivators in improving their cultivation, especially when breaking through the realm. He had no way to verify whether this was true, but there was no smoke without fire. There must be many benefits to practicing this method. The method he got was called Immortal God Technique. As long as he practiced this method, even if he died accidentally in the future, his soul would not easily die, and he would have the opportunity to reshape his body and come back to life. Even if it was difficult to come back to life, it would be easier for him to take over the body than others. With the help of this method, Yun Yongzhu would have no problem achieving the nascent soul in the future, and even had a glimmer of hope to ascend to the fairy world. Regarding the world after ascending, the monks have different opinions. Some say it is the spirit world, some say it is the fairy world. The records and the classics are also varied, so people usually call the world after ascending the fairy world. Yun Yongzhu couldn't help being so excited and happy. This opportunity was really too great. It could be said that it was the most important opportunity in his life besides detecting his spiritual roots. This was a skill that could affect his future destiny. Chapter 241, Crystallization of Sea of Consciousness. After a long time, Yun Yongzhu's excitement gradually calmed down, but he always had a smile on his lips, and his good mood was obvious. With Yun Yongzhu's state of mind and experience, the reason why he lost his composure was not only because he had obtained a method of cultivating the primordial spirit, but also because of the mysterious handkerchief tightly held in his hand. From the mysterious symbol in his sea of consciousness, Yun Yongzhu also learned a piece of information. That is, the handkerchief in his hand was a treasure. This is a treasure that can defend against attacks from the soul. Although the specific grade of this treasure is unknown, the fact that this treasure can protect the soul of the cultivator is already a precious and rare treasure. It's a pity that with Yun Yongzhu's current realm of cultivation, he can't drive or use this treasure at all. Although the rank of this treasure is unknown, according to his analysis of the information he received, if he wants to use this magic weapon, his cultivation must at least reach the golden core realm. Yun Yongzhu is now very fortunate that no matter how curious he is about this white handkerchief, no matter how much he has tossed it around, he has never used his essence, blood, spiritual power, and consciousness to refine it. As family cultivators, they learned a lot of common sense and cultivation taboos in the family school when they were young. The elders warned them not to rashly refine magic weapons of unknown grades, properties, and types, as it would be dangerous for their lives. He knew that if a cultivator's cultivation level was not high enough, and he tried to refine a high-grade magic weapon, the result would be either that the cultivator's vitality would be greatly damaged, his foundation would be greatly damaged, and he would barely succeed in the ritual, or that the magic weapon would suck his essence, blood, spiritual power, and consciousness dry, and he would die. It is simply unrealistic for a low-level cultivator to suddenly get a treasure and then be able to dominate the world of immortal cultivation, call the wind and rain, and dominate the world of immortal cultivation, as described in the storybook. Because even if a low-level cultivator is really lucky and obtains a high-level magic weapon, his own cultivation also limits his ability to use this magic weapon. Yun Yongzhu held this precious treasure in his hand, thinking that he should keep it well, and when his cultivation or soul is comparable to that of a giant and cultivator, he can offer sacrifices and recognize the master. So he took out an exquisite jade box, folded the super, and put it in it, and then put it in the secret room. Only when it is placed in it, Yun Yongzhu can feel at ease. He also made a jade slip to keep it in it, and recorded all the 3-level cultivation methods of the Immortal God Sutra in his mind. Because Yun Yongzhu was in contact with the mysterious symbol in the Sea of Consciousness for too short a time, this method of cultivating the Yuan Shan only has 3 levels. However, this short 3-level method is already inexhaustible for Yun Yongzhu now. This Immortal God Sutra can only be practiced by foundation building cultivators. The 3 levels of the method correspond to the foundation building period, Jinden period and Yuanying period of a cultivator, which are enough for Yun Yongzhu to practice for hundreds or even thousands of years. Yun Yongzhu returned to the bedroom from the secret room, and couldn't help but sneer at himself. The method of using this super was so simple that he had to toss for a long time. Not only did he rush back to the sect from Yunwu Mountain, but he also searched for a needle in a haystack in the Kingshan Academy of the sect. The moment before, he was still thinking about how to find the clues of the mysterious handkerchief, and the next moment, his casual action cracked the secret. Yun Yongzhu first confirmed that the mysterious handkerchief in his hand was really a treasure, and also knew that it had the function of protecting the soul. Secondly, he also obtained a precious method of cultivating the primordial spirit, and thirdly, he left a mysterious symbol in his sea of consciousness. However, he can be said to be blessed and unfortunate, and turn danger into fortune. This time, if Yun Yongzhu's soul was not different from others, and his consciousness was far beyond the same level of cultivators, he would definitely fall directly in his cave. For those who cultivate immortals, life and death are really changing rapidly, and no one can predict what will happen in the next second. Yun Yongzhu entered his sea of consciousness again in the bedroom. He only glanced at the mysterious symbol in his sea of consciousness, which was shining with golden light, and then stopped paying attention to it. He looked at the transparent spherical crystal in his sea of consciousness. This crystal is the carrier of spiritual consciousness, which was condensed after Yun Yongzhu established his foundation. The difference from others is the size of the crystal. After others established their foundation, the crystals in their sea of consciousness were only the size of sesame seeds, but Yun Yongzhu's were the size of rice grains. He guessed that the reason for this was because his soul was strong and his spiritual consciousness was extraordinary, so he didn't delve into it. In fact, Yun Yongzhu's guess was roughly the same, because Yun Yongzhu's soul did not originally belong to this world. After reincarnation here, this soul underwent some unpredictable changes. After practicing, Yun Yongzhu's spiritual consciousness became more sensitive. And because Yun Yongzhu had a soul-eating golden cicada, which could nourish his soul, Yun Yongzhu's spiritual consciousness far exceeded that of the cultivators of the same level during the key training period, and was about to catch up with the spiritual consciousness of the foundation building cultivators. Therefore, when he was building his foundation, his sea of consciousness was manifested, and the size of the sea of consciousness crystal naturally surpassed that of cultivators of the same level. This crystal contains all the spiritual consciousness of the cultivator. Yun Yongzhu survived this disaster, and the sea of consciousness crystal had exerted great efforts. At that time, his soul was about to break, and his whole body was in great pain. Every time he felt that he could not hold on, a spiritual power would escape from the sea of consciousness crystal, which kept supporting him until all the information in the treasure handkerchief entered his sea of consciousness. After a while, Yun Yongzhu's thoughts came out of the sea of consciousness and returned to his body. He was now full of emotions and felt that there was no time more interested and motivated to practice than now. Yun Yongzhu's mind emerged with the first level of the Immortal God Sutra, and then he began to comprehend it. This Immortal God Sutra is different from ordinary cultivation methods. Yun Yongzhu did not have the guidance of his elders, nor did he have the cultivation experience of others to assist him in cultivation. He could only rely on his own understanding bit by bit. Although Yun Yongzhu has been practicing for more than 29 years, this is the first time he has come into contact with the practice of cultivating the primordial spirit. He has little experience. According to conservative estimates, this immortal god art should be at least a 4th level practice. It is too profound and difficult for Yun Yongzhu to understand. Moreover, this practice is recorded in a text that is completely unfamiliar to Yun Yongzhu. Fortunately, Yun Yongzhu has learned this unfamiliar text without a teacher and can correspond it to the text he knows. However, he still needs to carefully ponder and comprehend the meaning of the text. Cultivation is not a simple matter. You must know that a slight mistake can lead to a great mistake. This carelessness can damage the meridians or even lead to obsession. Otherwise, even if Yun Yongzhu obtains this supreme practice, it is as useless as gold obtained in the desert. After more than an hour, Yun Yongzhu has gained a little and comprehended the practice principle of the first level of the immortal god art, the direction of spiritual power in the meridians, and so on. Chapter 242 Trivia. Yun Yongzhu had gained something, so he couldn't wait to run into the practice room. He closed his eyes and sat cross-legged on a cushion in the center of the practice room. According to his understanding of the practice, he began to carefully draw spiritual power and operate his consciousness step by step. About an hour later, Yun Yongzhu ran a small cycle according to the first level of the practice, and suddenly a cool feeling came over the back of his head. This immortal god technique was really magical. He clearly felt that his consciousness had increased a little. This was much greater than the power Yun Yongzhu had gained by feeding the soul-devouring golden cicada. Yun Yongzhu was overjoyed. He did not stop the operation of the first level of the immortal god technique. Yun Yongzhu's soul continued to immerse himself in practice, and he was ignorant and insensitive to the outside world. It was unknown how long it took for him to wake up from the practice state. Yun Yongzhu felt that his soul was a little stronger than before the practice, and he couldn't help but be excited. If he continued to practice like this, his soul would definitely transform into the Yuanshan that only Jiandan cultivators would have before his cultivation level was promoted to the Jiandan realm. By then, he will not only be able to practice the burning wood art faster, but also the success rate of refining pills will be doubled. More importantly, when his soul achieves the primordial spirit, he will be able to recognize the handkerchief treasure as the master and store it in his body. Yun Yongzhu remembered that he still had many things to deal with, so he came out of the practice room. It was already the morning of the second day outside, and the sky was just getting light. He thought about it, and went to the mission hall of Lotus Peak. Yun Yongzhu soon reached the top of Lotus Peak. As one of the few second level upper grade spiritual peaks, the mission hall of Lotus Peak has many disciples coming and going, including inner disciples in the key training stage and foundation building stage. He walked into the hall familiarly and found Zhang Yumin, a deacon brother who was familiar with him. He was registering the mission information for several disciples at the 8th and 9th levels of key training. Zhang Yumin noticed that Yun Yongzhu was approaching and motioned him to wait for a moment. Yun Yongzhu nodded to show that he understood and watched him carefully explain the key points of the mission to several inner disciples. After only about 3 or 5 minutes, Zhang Yumin finished the work at hand and led Yun Yongzhu into a side hall. "Junior brother Yun, please sit down. You haven't been to the mission hall for several months. Junior brother Zhang, you also know that I have just established my foundation. I have been in seclusion for the past few months to consolidate my realm. No, I just stabilized my cultivation and came to find you. I wonder how many 9 flame flowers and 10,000 fang grasses have you collected for me? The second grade upper grade 9 flame flowers are the main medicine for refining the wood flame pill, and the second grade lower grade 10,000 fang grass is an important auxiliary medicine for refining the wood flame pill. Because they are not the common spiritual medicines taken by foundation building cultivators for cultivation such as refining the Jilling pill, they are not common in the mission hall of the sect. In addition, Yun Yongzhu has never had extra time, so he only came to Zhang Yumin at Lotus Peak before leaving the sect to talk about helping him collect these 2 spiritual medicines. If he collected enough 9 flame flowers and 10,000 fang grass, it would be the best. If not, Yun Yongzhu would have to go to more spiritual peaks, more mission halls, or even go to Danlian Peak a few times to collect these 2 spiritual medicines. I, Zhang Yumin, will do the work, so you can rest assured, junior brother Yun. Zhang Yumin took out more than 30 jade boxes Not to mention your relationship with senior brother Zhao. Just based on your extraordinary alchemy skills, I will definitely help you collect these 2 spiritual medicines. Senior brother, I have been waiting for you to refine the gathering spirit pill. Junior brother Yun, please take a look. Are the number of 9 flame flowers and 10,000 fangrass I have collected in the past few months enough? The senior brother Zhao, that Zhang Yumin mentioned, was Yun Yongzhu's senior brother Zhao Yang. Zhao Yang had saved Zhang Yumin's life before, so he took special care of Yun Yongzhu, the younger junior brother of his lifesaver. Thank you, senior brother Zhang. Yun Yongzhu checked and found that there were 15 9 flame flowers and 20 10,000 fangrass in these jade boxes. Brother Zhang, you have worked hard. These spiritual medicines are enough, Yun Yongzhu said, and took out his identity jade card. Brother Zhang, how many points are these spiritual medicines worth? Why did I have to work so hard? I don't need to go out of the sect to look for them one by one. These are just transferred from the sect's warehouse to various mission halls, and then I intercepted them. It's a pity that these 2 spiritual medicines are not common spiritual medicines. There are not many distributed in the Lotus Peak Hall. Junior brother, just give me 650 sect points. Zhang Yumin took out his identity jade card and placed it in the palm of his hand. In Yun Yongzhu's opinion, if these 9 flame flowers and 10,000 fangrass were purchased with spirit stones, it would cost more than 2,000. If it was settled with points, it would cost about 660. However, these 2 second-level spiritual medicines are not commonly used spiritual medicines, and are not easy to collect. Yun Yongzhu asked Zhang Yumin to collect them, which not only saved trouble, but also made them cheaper. Of course, he knew that brother Zhang should be able to make a profit from it, but he couldn't estimate how much profit he would make. After all, he had no way of knowing Zhang Yumin's collection cost. In fact, the purchase of 9 flame flowers and 10,000 fangrass can be settled with spirit stones, but Yun Yongzhu uses sect points, so no matter how much or how little Zhang Yumin earns, he will make a profit. Because although 1 sect point can be exchanged for 3 spirit stones, 3 spirit stones cannot easily exchange for 1 sect point. This is actually the same as spirit stones can be easily exchanged for currency used by mortals, but coins used by mortals cannot be exchanged for spirit stones. There are many spiritual objects and treasures in the sect that cannot be exchanged for spirit stones, but can only be exchanged for points. Yun Yongzhu used his identity jade card to swipe on Zhang Yumin's identity jade card and transferred 650 sect points. Thank you, senior brother Zhang. Junior brother Yun is always so polite, I should thank you. If you need any spiritual medicine in the future, just come to me. As long as I can help, I will never refuse. After Yun Yongzhu thanked him again and again, he asked Zhang Yumin about the materials for the gathering spirit pill. In the sect, it was different from Yunzhou. Although the recipe of the gathering spirit pill was also precious, most of the foundation building cultivators knew the main ingredients for refining it, so he did not hide the ingredients of the recipe of the gathering spirit pill. Gathering spirit grass, spirit thistle, spirit absorbing spirit grass, lingzi, polygonatum, cornus officinalis, purple ginseng. Aren't these all the ingredients for refining the gathering spirit pill? Junior brother Yun can refine the gathering spirit pill now? Zhang Yumin was surprised. He had heard of the great name of this master Zhu, and he also knew that Yun Yongzhu was accepted as a personal disciple by Jiandan Zenren because of his outstanding talent in alchemy. But he did not expect that junior brother Yun could refine a second level spiritual pill in less than half a year after building his foundation. Yes, master gave me the recipe of the gathering spirit pill a long time ago, but I didn't refine it because of my lack of cultivation. Now the success rate of the gathering spirit pill is still very low. Yun Yongzhu felt that there was nothing to hide about this matter, so he embellished it a little and admitted it. Chapter 243 Buying Medicine and Refining Pills. Junior brother Yun, you are called Master Bamboo for a reason. No wonder you were accepted as a personal disciple by Master Huang. Master Huang is really a discerning person. Zhang Yumin praised Yun Yongzhu repeatedly. Even Yun Yongzhu, who had been through many battles, could not bear it. Brother Zhang, you are too kind. Please help me prepare these spiritual medicine materials. Yun Yongzhu wrote down the number of spiritual medicine materials he needed to refine the soul gathering pill on a piece of paper and handed it to Zhang Yumin. Junior brother Yun, wait a moment. I will go to the storehouse in the main hall to get it for you. Zhang Yumin gestured to Yun Yongzhu to sit in the side hall for a while and then walked out of the side hall quickly. It took him nearly half an incense stick of time to return from outside. Junior brother Yun, take a look at the number of spiritual medicines. I have given you the ones with sufficient years. Yun Yongzhu asked for a total of 40 portions of materials for refining the soul gathering pill, and each portion of materials contained 233 spiritual medicines. Zhang Yumin did not prepare the spiritual medicine, but packed it in wooden boxes according to the required amount of each, so there were only 213 boxes in total. Yun Yongzhu was very satisfied with this, at least it would not damage the medicinal properties. Yun Yongzhu simply waved his hand and put away all the wooden boxes of different sizes and then asked the price. Brother Zhang, how can I not trust you? How many spiritual stones are these spiritual medicines? 40 portions, 400 spiritual stones per portion, a total of 16,000. Yun Yongzhu did not say much and took out the spiritual stones and handed them to him as Zhang Yumin said. Although the materials for the Julingdan are very old, the quality is not out of the ordinary. Generally, it is about 400 spiritual stones per portion, and 40 portions are exactly 16,000 spiritual stones. After buying this batch of spiritual medicine materials, Yun Yongzhu had few spiritual stones left, only a little over 3,000. Zhang Yumin did not accept Yun Yongzhu's spirit stones, but asked hesitantly, I wonder when junior brother Yun can refine this gathering spirit pill. Can you give me a few? Don't think that the gathering spirit pill can be obtained so easily, just because the materials for refining the gathering spirit pill are so easy to buy. There are only a limited number of second level alchemists who can refine the gathering spirit pill. Even in a sect as large as Qingshan sect, there are not many second level alchemists. However, there are more than 2,000 second level cultivators in the sect, that is, cultivators in the foundation building stage. These few second level alchemists are just a drop in the bucket for these people. After all, alchemists are also cultivators. It is impossible for them to refine pills for others all the time and delay their own cultivation. Besides, in Qingshan sect, in addition to cultivators in the foundation building stage, there are also tens of thousands of disciples in the key training stage. Although there are hundreds or thousands of first level alchemists in the sect, their cultivation is low, and they simply cannot refine enough key gathering pills, as well as other pills suitable for disciples in the key training stage. In fact, most of the first level pills in the sect are made by second level alchemists, because only when second level alchemists refine first level pills, their success rate and quality will be higher, and the efficiency of using spiritual medicine materials will also be higher. Yun Yongzhu thought about it. 40 portions of materials for the gathering spirit pill. Even if his success rate is very low, he can at least refine 10 pills. It would be okay to give a few to senior brother Zhang. Senior brother Zhang, my success rate is still unstable now. Everything will be settled. If there are extra pills, I will definitely give you a few. Yun Yongzhu did not say everything. If the refining is not smooth, it will be a slap in the face. Zhang Yumin showed joy after hearing this, and directly divided 480 of the 16,000 spiritual stones given by Yun Yongzhu. Brother Yun, these 480 spirit stones will be used as a deposit. When you refine the gathering spirit pill, send me a sound transmission talisman and I will go to Piomio Peak to get it myself. Yun Yongzhu thought about it. 480 spirit stones were the price of 3 low-grade gathering spirit pills. 3 pills were not too much, and the price was right, so he kept the 480 spirit stones. I was afraid that Zhang Yumin would be very happy. After all, even if the gathering spirit pill refined by Yun Yongzhu was a low-grade pill, it was better than other low-grade gathering spirit pills with the blessing of the 9-turn alchemy art. After bidding farewell to Zhang Yumin, Yun Yongzhu returned to Piomio Peak. After returning to Wazhuju, he found Wang Yiming and asked him to buy more than 100 other auxiliary medicines needed to refine the wood flame pill. According to Yun Yongzhu's estimation, one portion of the auxiliary medicine for the wood flame pill would require about 130 spirit stones, and no more than 140 spirit stones at most. The 1,200 spirit stones he gave to Wang Yiming could at least buy 8 portions of the auxiliary medicine for the wood flame pill. After Wang Yiming left, Yun Yongzhu started to refine the gathering spirit pill. He stopped only after he successfully refined to lower grade gathering spirit pills. At this time, more than 2 hours had passed, and nearly 3 hours had passed. Wang Yiming was waiting in Yun Yongzhu's courtyard. Seeing Yun Yongzhu leave the alchemy room, he hurriedly stepped forward respectfully and took out more than 100 wooden boxes of spiritual medicine. Uncle Yun, the spiritual medicine you need has been bought. You count them. There are still 3 spiritual stones left. Got it. Go and get busy. Yun Yongzhu picked up a wooden box with 9 flaming grasses in it, picked up another wooden box with 18 silverleaf grasses in it, and opened another wooden box with 18 portions of genuine root in it. One set of wood flame pill materials contains 1 flaming grass, 2 silverleaf grasses, and 2 portions of genuine root. In this way, these 1,200 spiritual stones bought 9 portions of auxiliary medicinal materials for wood flame pill. Yun Yongzhu waved his hand and put all the wooden boxes into the storage bag. Then he came to the pavilion in the courtyard and took out the recipe of the wood flame pill to comprehend it. Although he had already comprehended the recipe of the wood flame pill, he still wanted to recall the recipe again before refining it. After all, although the main ingredient of the wood flame pill was not very valuable, it was not as common as the gathering spirit grass. Yun Yongzhu calmed down and reviewed the process of refining the wood flame pill, the requirements for the treatment of spiritual medicines, the time and temperature of the medicine, etc. After comprehending the recipe of the wood flame pill, it was already past the hour of U. After he had dinner, he went directly into the practice room. There was no rush to refine the pill, but the immortal god technique had to be practiced diligently every day. So far, Yun Yongzhu needs to practice 3 techniques in total. They are the burning wood technique for the main spiritual power, the quenching spirit technique for the auxiliary spiritual power, and the newly acquired immortal god technique for the main primordial spirit. Among these 3 techniques, practicing the burning wood technique can improve his cultivation level, and practicing the immortal god technique can improve his soul level. Although the name of this quenching soul technique is not loud enough, its grade has reached the 4th grade, and its value is immeasurable. It is unknown how much Huang Chengsheng spent to get it and pass it on to Yun Yongzhu. Although the quenching soul technique cannot directly improve the cultivation of the cultivator, it can refine the spiritual power obtained by Yun Yongzhu from practicing the burning wood technique. Therefore, Yun Yongzhu's spiritual power is extremely pure and strong. This is also the guarantee that he can now perform the 9-turn alchemy technique 3 times when refining pills, and refine the 3rd turn pill. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 244, Refining and Transforming the Wood Flame Pill. The more techniques one practices, the more time one needs, the more spiritual stones one needs to spend, and the more difficult and slower one will be to practice. Therefore, few cultivators practice multiple techniques. Most cultivators practice only one technique, mainly to improve their cultivation level. Only a small number of cultivators practice other techniques in order to gain extraordinary combat power, or like Yun Yongzhu, to improve the success rate and quality of pills and assist in alchemy. Yun Yongzhu has decided that in the future, he will focus on the immortal god technique, then the burning wood technique, and finally the quenching spirit technique. After all, his spiritual power can be improved by taking pills, and the quenching technique is mainly to quench the spiritual power obtained from practice, which does not take much time. However, the immortal god technique is different. He can only rely on his own hard work to cultivate the power of the soul little by little. Moreover, if the immortal god technique is practiced quickly, it will also have a great auxiliary effect on his spiritual power cultivation and improvement of spiritual power cultivation. It was not until the next morning that Yun Yongzhu came to the alchemy room. He decided to try to refine a furnace of wood flame pill today. Although there are only 105 materials for refining wood flame pill, which is more than 120 less than the number of materials for refining chilling pill, Yun Yongzhu did not underestimate it. The more than 100 spiritual medicine materials for refining wood flame pill, except for Jiuan flower and Wanfang grass, can be roughly divided into 3 types of spiritual medicine properties. One is the spiritual medicine with hot properties, most of which are spiritual medicines with fire properties, which can stimulate the physical body of the cultivator. The other is the spiritual medicine with warm properties, most of which are spiritual medicines with wood properties, which can repair the minor damage to the physical body of the cultivator. There is also a small number of spiritual medicines with mild medicinal properties, which belong to the harmonizing spiritual medicine, and can make the medicinal properties of fire attributed spiritual medicines compatible with the medicinal properties of wood attributed spiritual medicines. The 2 second-level spiritual medicines do not need to be processed separately. Yun Yongzhu first prepared the first-level fire-attributed spiritual medicines such as huoli grass, hoan grass, and feng's hao flower. Then there are the first-level spiritual herbs and spiritual medicines with wood properties such as bao puzi, jiuanjun, and baikao go. Finally, the silverleaf grass, a spiritual medicine for blending, was added. Because it was the first time that the wood flame pill was furnaced, Yun Yongzhu prepared it more carefully, fearing that it would be a bad start. After the spiritual medicine was processed, Yun Yongzhu calmly preheated the purple gold pill furnace, first throwing in the main medicine, the second grade upper grade 9 flame flower and the most fire attributed spiritual medicines, to melt and quench. Then he threw in a silverleaf grass for blending. After these spiritual medicines melted, he threw the second grade lower grade Wanfang grass and other wood attributed spiritual medicines into the purple gold pill furnace for melting. When the liquid of these wood attributed spiritual medicines and the liquid of the fire attributed spiritual medicines were blended, he put the last silverleaf grass into the purple gold furnace. Yun Yongzhu was actually looking forward to refining the pill, and he was also very nervous. However, he was not looking forward to the help that the wood flame pill would play in his cultivation, and he was not only nervous about whether the wood flame pill would be successful, because the order in which Yun Yongzhu put the spiritual medicines in when refining the pill this time was not completely in accordance with the order recorded on the wood flame pill recipe. However, he relied on his understanding of the recipe and the properties of all the spiritual medicines in the recipe, studied for a long time, and changed the time sequence of the silverleaf grass and other spiritual medicines. Yun Yongzhu has been refining pills for nearly 20 years, and has experienced the pill enlightenment for nearly 7 years. At this time, his understanding of the medicinal properties of spiritual medicines is no longer the same as when he just experienced the pill enlightenment. Although he has not yet developed the recipe and the ability to create his own pills, he has been trying to change the existing recipes. For the first time, to open the furnace of the wood flame pill, he did not add or reduce the spiritual medicines in the recipe, and he was even less capable of changing the spiritual medicines in the recipe. He only slightly changed the time and order of the spiritual medicines. According to his understanding of the wood flame pill and the medicinal properties of the spiritual medicine materials of the wood flame pill, his order of spiritual medicine placement may not be the best, but it is definitely the one with the highest chance of success. Yun Yongzhu's spiritual consciousness is paying attention to the changes in the medicine liquid in the purple gold pill furnace, and he vaguely feels that the medicine liquid in the pill furnace has been tempered to the limit. He trusted his instincts very much, and without thinking too much, he quickly pinched out the 9 turns to melt the pill art, and hit it into the pill furnace. Soon he had another idea, and used the 9 turns to condense at the pill art. Yun Yongzhu noticed that 3 pills were gradually taking shape in the purple gold pill furnace, and he couldn't help but be overjoyed. He used the 9 turns to collect the pill art that he had pinched in his hand, but had not yet used, and 3 wood flame pills flew into an empty green jade bottle on the alchemy stone table. Before the pills landed steadily at the bottom of the jade bottle, Yun Yongzhu hurried over to check. Inside the green jade bottle, 3 dark red pills were still spinning inside, and they stopped moving after 1 or 2 breaths. Yun Yongzhu looked at it, and he didn't know what to feel in his heart. Although the pill was successfully refined, the color was wrong. According to the record on the wood flame pill recipe, the wood flame pill should be dark brown. Is this still the wood flame pill? Yun Yongzhu couldn't help muttering to himself. More than 100 kinds of spiritual medicines were melted and fused in the furnace, and their medicinal properties were ever changing. Yun Yongzhu had a premonition that there was a high probability that the elixir would be refined, but he had not expected whether the elixir refined after changing the order of the materials in the elixir recipe would still be the original elixir. He poured a dark red wood flame pill into the palm of his hand, then put it to the tip of his nose and sniffed it. A unique fragrance lingered at the tip of his nose. There was no discomfort in his body. From the smell of the elixir alone, this dark red elixir was at least not a poisonous pill. Moreover, Yun Yongzhu only smelled it once, and the spiritual power in his body had a slight movement, as if he wanted to circulate the body to absorb spiritual energy. It seems that this elixir can also improve the spiritual power of the cultivator after taking it, but I don't know whether it is more or less effective than the genuine wood flame pill. However, from this aspect, Yun Yongzhu has completely understood the recipe of the wood flame pill and successfully transformed it. He was excited after realizing this. This step was very important to him, symbolizing that his alchemy skills had made great progress. Yun Yongzhu could imagine that, if his master Huang Chengsheng and his master's wife Guana knew about this, they would probably be stunned. Especially Huang Chengsheng, as a third level top grade alchemist, he did not dare to change the recipe at will, and he did not have such great ability. Yun Yongzhu was happy for a long time, and then he left the alchemy room, called the servants to clean up the alchemy room, and went into the practice room. After taking a top grade key restoring pill, he sat down cross-legged and meditated to quickly recover his spiritual power. Although there are only 105 kinds of materials for refining this wood flame pill, it takes more than 2.5 hours to refine a furnace of pills, and the spiritual power is also almost 60% consumed. He decided to wait until his spiritual power is restored, and then open the furnace to refine a furnace of genuine wood flame pills, and then take them separately to compare which method of refining wood flame pills has better medicinal effects after taking them. Chapter 245 Grandmaster's Prayer. After only half an hour, Yun Yongzhu recovered his spiritual power and consciousness. He returned to the alchemy room and took out the materials for refining the wood flame pill. With the experience of refining once, Yun Yongzhu's skills in handling spiritual medicines this time were much more skilled, so he quickly processed the materials for the wood flame pill. Step by step, he began to refine the wood flame pill. After he melted the fire-attributed spiritual medicines such as the 9 flame flowers, he did not put in the silver leaf grass, but directly began to melt the wood-attributed spiritual herbs and flowers. When the spiritual medicines such as the 10,000 fang grass were about to turn into liquid and drip into the bottom of the purple gold alchemy furnace, he threw 2 silver leaf grasses into the purple gold alchemy furnace together. Yun Yongzhu's mind moved, and the wood heart true fire wrapped around the silver leaf grass. Dozens of spiritual medicines in the wood heart true fire were melted into juice at a speed visible to the naked eye in an instant. Yun Yongzhu used his consciousness to control the liquid medicines and prevented them from falling naturally. At this time, the Wan Fang grass and other spiritual medicines had already melted into liquid medicine and merged into the Jiuan flower liquid medicine. Just as Yun Yongzhu expected, after the liquid medicine of Wan Fang grass and Jiuan flower met, the whole purple gold pill furnace became agitated. Yun Yongzhu's expression became extremely solemn. According to the description of the wood flame pill recipe, the liquid medicine of the wood attributed Wan Fang grass, Bakao fruit and other spiritual medicines must be fully integrated with the liquid medicine of the fire attributed Jiuan flower, Huli grass and other spiritual medicines. As for the liquid medicine fusion, the recipe said it would take a moment. In this era, a moment refers to the time of 1 to 90 breaths. The specific time depends on the changes in the liquid medicine during the refining of the pill, and the alchemist decides it himself. This time is really too vague, and the medicinal properties of Wan Fang grass and Jiuan flower are very different, and the properties are not compatible, which leads to a relatively low success rate of this wood flame pill. Therefore, Yun Yongzhu had the idea to change the recipe of the pill. Once he had the idea, he couldn't stop, and finally refined the dark red wood flame pill. Otherwise, he wouldn't have delayed nearly half a year to start refining the wood flame pill. In the purple gold pill furnace, the Wanfang herbal liquid and the Jiuan flower liquid never calmed down. Yun Yongzhu calmly cast a 9 turns tempering art to temper the boiling spiritual medicine liquid in the purple gold pill furnace. In the alchemy room, the fragrance of the spiritual medicine filled the whole room. Yun Yongzhu suddenly became energetic and changed the seal in his hand to 9 turns melting pill art. The silverleaf grass liquid fell into the bottom of the pill furnace. With the addition of this blending spiritual medicine, the purple gold pill furnace gradually calmed down. Yun Yongzhu turned his hand seal and changed back to 9 turns tempering art. In just 2 breaths, Yun Yongzhu was sensitive to the opportunity to condense the pill, and he changed the spell directly to 9 turns to condensing pills, followed by 9 turns to collecting pills. What made Yun Yongzhu slightly disappointed and surprised was that there were clearly 3 wood flame pills in the jade bottle, but when he looked into the jade bottle, there were only 2 pills left, both of which were of low quality. The wood flame pill refined this time was indeed as described in the pill recipe, with a dark brown color as a whole, and its medicinal fragrance was no different from the dark red wood flame pill refined before. Yun Yongzhu almost couldn't wait to call the attendants to clean up the alchemy room, and he went into the practice room. In the practice room, Yun Yongzhu sat cross-legged on the futon. In front of him were 2 small jade bottles, 1 red and 1 white, which were the 2 wood flame pills that Yun Yongzhu had refined before and after. Both of these wood flame pills were of low quality, and the requirements for taking this kind of pill were similar to those for the gelling pill, but the low quality wood flame pill only needed to be taken every 3 months, which was better than the 4 months for the low quality gelling pill. Normally, it would take 3 months to expel the poison and impurities from a low-grade wood flame pill before taking the next one. But now Yun Yongzhu didn't care much about the efficacy of the 2 pills. At worst, he wouldn't take the wood flame pill for the next 6 months to increase his cultivation. If that didn't work, he would have to start refining the cleansing marrow pill. When Yun Yongzhu was very young, he was very organized in taking pills. He would never take the next one before the time came. It was the same after he entered the sect. Later, he realized the difference between the spiritual power obtained from the pills and the spiritual power obtained from cultivation, as well as the harm of the pills. He would not take anything other than the top grade pills, so he had no need for the cleansing marrow pills at ordinary times. At this time, he only remembered it when he needed it, thinking that he should take time to refine 1 or 2 cleansing marrow pills to carry with him. He took the middle grade cleansing marrow pill that he first refined and collected many years ago before building his foundation to increase the success rate of building his foundation. Yun Yongzhu silently recited the meditation technique before pouring out a dark brown wood flame pill and taking it. Then he closed his eyes and practiced the burning wood technique, foundation building technique to increase the efficiency of pill absorption. When he opened his eyes again, 3 days had passed in a flash. The medicinal power and spiritual power of the dark brown wood flame pill had been completely absorbed by Yun Yongzhu. He was full of amazement. No wonder the master specially found the recipe of the wood flame pill and suggested that he take this pill to practice. The wood flame pill really fits the burning wood technique perfectly. This is not a question of how much spiritual power the wood flame pill and the gathering spirit pill contain, but a question of the degree of fit with the practice of the cultivator. Yun Yongzhu hardly used his spiritual sense to attract, and the dual attribute spiritual power of fire and wood contained in the wood flame pill automatically flowed into Yun Yongzhu's meridians. In just 3 short days, it was equivalent to Yun Yongzhu's 4 months of hard practice. Yun Yongzhu had not taken the gelling pill, but he had heard that taking 1 pill was equivalent to half a year of hard training for a foundation building cultivator. His master must have known this very well. Even though he knew this, his master still found the recipe for the wood flame pill for him, and even suggested that he take the wood flame pill first. There was a reason for that. Although Yun Yongzhu did not know the specific reason, he trusted his master very much, and believed that his master would not harm him, so he would naturally take the wood flame pill as the main one. After being amazed, he picked up another bottle of wood flame pill in front of him, poured out a dark red pill, and stuffed it into his mouth without hesitation. The dark red wood flame pill had a faint fragrance, and tasted slightly sweet. Before Yun Yongzhu could swallow the pill, It turned into a warm liquid and slid into Yun Yongzhu's esophagus and entered his stomach. The medicinal power of the wood flame pill was released very quickly. Yun Yongzhu did not have time to think about it and immediately practiced the burning wood art to absorb the spiritual power of the dual attributes of fire and wood contained in the pill. Another 3 days passed before Yun Yongzhu absorbed the spiritual power contained in the dark red wood flame pill. After he opened his eyes, he carefully felt the difference in the medicinal power of the 2 wood flame pills he took, but he could not feel any big difference. However, the fact that there was no difference in the medicinal effect between the 2 was the best thing, because according to the refining sequence improved by Yun Yongzhu, the refining process of the wood flame pill was simpler and the success rate was slightly improved. Yun Yongzhu could not help but show a happy expression. It seemed that his refining method of the wood flame pill was successfully improved. This matter was of great significance to him, and it was more important than him learning a new pill formula or even being able to refine a 3rd level spiritual pill. This was not a trivial matter. Even Huang Chengsheng, a 3rd level upper grade alchemist, did not have the ability to improve the pill formula. Yun Yongzhu's ability to improve the recipe of the wood flame pill was equivalent to his potential to become an alchemy master, and he could even develop new pill formulas and pills in the future. Alchemy masters are even rarer than cultivators in the nascent soul stage. Every time an alchemy master appears in the world of immortal cultivation, it will have a great impact on the world of immortal cultivation. Because immortal cultivators are a group of demanders, no matter how many spiritual medicines there are in this world, they are not enough for these cultivators. The spiritual medicines and spiritual objects in the world of cultivation are always limited. Many spiritual medicines have gradually withdrawn from the world stage under the endless demands of immortal cultivators. If there are no alchemy masters to invent new elixir formulas, the world of cultivation will gradually decline. Chapter 246 Hanlin. Yun Yongzhu sat cross-legged on the futon and enjoyed himself for a long time before putting away the 2 small jade bottles in front of him. Remembering that 7 or 8 days had passed, Yun Yongzhu hurried out of the practice room. Wan Yiming, has anyone come to visit Loyun Hall these days? Uncle Yun, the cave has been very quiet recently and no guests have come. Yun Yongzhu was surprised. After the 3rd sister came to visit, he sent a message to his eldest and 2nd brothers, saying that he would come to visit. Why didn't they come to Loyun Hall without him? Yun Yongzhu couldn't figure it out, so he put it aside for the time being, and went back to the alchemy room. The soul gathering pill he promised to the 3rd sister had not yet been refined. 15 days later, he walked out of Loyun Hall, and went to the High Lotus residence. Lotus residence was the cave residence of his 3rd sister Emolina. Yun Yongzhu followed a female errand disciple in Lotus residence to a pavilion in the inner courtyard. Lotus residence is worthy of its name, as there are ponds and puddles everywhere, with many kinds of lotus planted. Even in the small lake next to the pavilion, there is a 2nd grade top grade 7 color lotus planted. Yun Yongzhu was admiring the beautiful spiritual lotus in the water when a pleasant laugh came from behind him. Before he saw the figure, he knew that it was his 3rd sister Emolina coming. 3rd sister, I'm here to bring you the elixir. Yun Yongzhu took out 2 small jade bottles and placed them on the jade table in the pavilion. Why are you in such a hurry? Although she said so, Emolina's hands were not slow. She picked up a jade bottle and poured out a pill to check. Mid-grade spirit gathering pill. Junior brother Yun, didn't you say before that you can only refine low-grade spirit gathering pills now? Why are you so humble? Seeing Emolina's surprised expression, Yun Yongzhu was in a very good mood. He spread his hands and said, 3rd senior sister, I'm not a humble person. My level of refining spirit gathering pills is indeed very low now. Not only is the pill yield very low, but the quality of the pills is mostly low. Occasionally, 1 or 2 mid-grade spirit gathering pills will be produced. Senior sister, please take a closer look. There are only 3 mid-grade pills in this jade bottle, and the other bottle is all low-grade spirit gathering pills. 7 in total, for a total of 10. Junior brother, tell me honestly, how many spirit gathering pills do you have left? Do you have any mid-grade pills? Yun Yongzhu did not hide anything. He answered Emolina truthfully. I opened the furnace 40 times in total, and succeeded in 25 furnaces. A total of 55 pills were produced. 50 of which were low grade and 5 of which were medium grade. I will give you 10 pills, and I will also give some to my eldest and second brothers. Yun Yongzhu made great progress this time. The success rate of opening the furnace and the pill production rate have greatly improved. This is mainly because this batch of pills are all first level pills. In other words, although he used the 9-turn alchemy art in this set of pill art, he did not use the 9-turn pill crushing art in this set of pill art. My eldest brother has gone out to train again, and I don't know when he will be back. Junior brother, give me another 15 low grade pills, and the rest will be given to my second brother. Yun Yongzhu had expected this. Since he became Huang Changsheng's disciple, his eldest brother Zhaoyang has often not stayed in the sect. In the past 7 years, he has seen this eldest brother Zhaoyang only a few times. In that case, I'll give you another bottle. You can't lose any spirit stones. Yun Yongzhu didn't get polite with Emolina. He knew that they were all disciples of Jinden Zenran. They had an annual allowance of 6,000 spirit stones. With their own extra income, they were not short of spirit stones. Especially the third sister and her friends had been worshipping under the master for many years. It was unknown how many spirit stones and resources they had. As he said that, he took out another bottle of low-grade Jilingden, which was snatched away by Emolina. After confirming that Yun Yongzhu didn't fool her, Emolina happily took out the spirit stones. Yes, 3380 spirit stones. Little brother, count them. Yun Yongzhu calculated in his mind that this was a settlement according to the market price. He didn't take advantage of him at all. He didn't count them, and directly put all the small pile of spirit stones into the storage bag. Senior sister, the pills are delivered to you. Then I'll take my leave, and won't disturb your cultivation. Emolina grabbed him. Hey, little junior brother, wait a minute. We haven't said much. Why don't you stay, and have a cup of spiritual tea? Third senior sister, I still have to go to second senior brother. Why are you in such a hurry? Senior sister has something to ask you. I want to ask you, will you stay in the sect from now on? Emolina was thinking about Yun Yongzhu, and wanted him to continue refining pills. Oh, my little senior sister, these 20 spirit gathering pills are enough for you to use for 6 years. Even if you use them with the marrow cleansing pills, they can be used for 2 or 3 years at least. When you have used up all the pills, I will refine them for you. How can such a big sect be short of your pills? What the little junior brother said made sense. After all, he was her little junior brother, so how could he not refine pills for her? However, she asked about the whereabouts of the little junior brother, not just because she was thinking about the pills he refined. Junior brother, now that you have successfully established your foundation, do you want to find a Taoist partner? Yun Yongzhu looked strange. Although the third sister liked to tease him, she had never asked him seriously like this. It depends on fate. To find a Taoist partner. He didn't say much. He didn't force it. It really depends on fate. Okay, I know what you mean. By the way, I'll find you when I run out of elixirs. Yun Yongzhu then got away and went to Kizu Peak, not far from Piomio Peak. In less than half an incense stick of time, Yun Yongzhu flew into the top of Kizu Peak and landed at the top of the mountain. Kizu Peak is as its name suggests. There are many bamboo spiritual plants planted on the entire spiritual peak. The cave of the second senior brother Hanlin is called Kinky Fu. It is quiet outside the cave, and there is no one. Yun Yongzhu was about to send a communication talisman inside, and saw a handsome young man inside flying high in the sky. This person is Yun Yongzhu's second senior brother Hanlin. Second senior brother. Hanlin looked back from above the cave and saw that it was his junior brother Yun Yongzhu, who landed in surprise. Junior brother, you are here. I was just about to go find you. After a conversation between the two brothers, Yun Yongzhu learned that Hanlin had been in seclusion for the past month to practice a secret technique, so he had not been to Yun Yongzhu's place. Junior brother, I just came out of seclusion today and saw your communication talisman. I was just about to go find you, and you came. Hanlin led Yun Yongzhu into the middle courtyard and ordered the servants to serve tea. Junior brother, you haven't been to my cave for a long time. When did you come back? Not long, less than a month. The two chatted for a while, before getting down to business. Second senior brother, I have refined some soul gathering pills during this period. I specially sent them to you today. Do you think you need them? When Yun Yongzhu was still in the key training stage, although he did not interact with several senior brothers and sisters frequently, he had a very close relationship with them. They often helped Yun Yongzhu, and occasionally went to his cave to answer his questions, and explain their cultivation experience, the strange stories and secrets of the world of immortal cultivation, etc. He was always grateful, but there was nothing he could do to help his senior brothers and sisters. Fortunately, he has now established his foundation, and his alchemy skills have been successfully advanced. He can use his strengths to help his senior brothers and sisters. Oh. It seems that you are really a good material for becoming an alchemist. You have achieved such results in less than half a year of foundation building. Take out the pills quickly. I will take as many as you have. From the tone, it can be seen that this is also a person who is not short of spirit stones. Yun Yongzhu took out 2 bottles of 12 pills and handed them to Hanlin. Second senior brother, take a look. After checking, Hanlin found that 2 of them were medium-grade spirit gathering pills. He was immediately shocked and raised his opinion of Yun Yongzhu's alchemy skills by a large margin. He put the 12 spirit gathering pills into the storage bag with surprise, and then took out 20-40 spirit stones. Haha, little junior brother, from now on, all the pills that second senior brother needs will be handed over to you. Yun Yongzhu put away the spirit stone, also with a smile on his face. Second senior brother, don't worry. With me here, you will never lack the gathering spirit pills. Then the 2 of them exchanged their experiences in cultivation, mainly Hanlin talking, and Yun Yongzhu listening. After all, Yun Yongzhu had just established his foundation not long ago. Even if his alchemy skills were outstanding, it was still different from cultivation. During this time, Yun Yongzhu also asked about the eldest senior brother, but even the second senior brother didn't know where the eldest senior brother went to practice. Just practice hard. When we practice to the late stage of foundation building, Master will also arrange for us to go out of the sect for training. Yun Yongzhu seemed to be thinking about something. Chapter 247, Harvest of Spiritual Fields. After returning to Piomio Peak, Yun Yongzhu lived in seclusion and practiced the immortal god art or the wood burning art every day. During this period, he began to hatch the purple jade bees he got from the auction in Xianyuan City. In addition, Yun Yongzhu also found time to refine 2 furnaces of key gathering pills and 2 furnaces of marrow cleansing pills. He got 9 high-grade key gathering pills, 4 medium-grade key gathering pills, 4 low-grade key gathering pills, 2 low-grade marrow cleansing pills, and 1 medium-grade marrow cleansing pill. Yun Yongzhu certainly did not refine these key gathering pills for himself, but for Wang Yiming. He planned to give these 2 furnaces of key gathering pills as rewards to him, after collecting the green blood grass and the blood recovery grass. As for the marrow cleansing pill, after all, the furnace was opened very rarely, and the first furnace failed. However, now that his cultivation has improved, and he has more experience in alchemy, the second furnace produced 3 pills. Yun Yongzhu took a low-grade marrow cleansing pill as soon as he refined it, and the remaining 2 marrow cleansing pills were collected by him for backup. Although this marrow cleansing pill only has 198 kinds of spiritual medicine materials, its cost is as high as 500 spiritual stones, which is about 100 spiritual stones higher than the spiritual medicine cost of the gathering spirit pill. Not only that, the difficulty of refining this marrow cleansing pill is also relatively high among all the pills that Yun Yongzhu has come into contact with. This is his second time to refine the marrow cleansing pill. When he first refined the marrow cleansing pill, Yun Yongzhu was only at the 7th level of key training, and he had not yet obtained the 9-turn alchemy art. At that time, he refined 2 furnaces of marrow cleansing pills. One furnace produced 3 pills, all of which were low grade, and the other furnace produced 2 pills, but one was medium grade. At that time, the family held a trade fair and auctioned off a low grade marrow cleansing pill. The remaining 3 low-grade marrow cleansing pills were left in the family, and it is estimated that they were all collected in the family's treasure house. As for the medium-grade marrow cleansing pill, he took it before building his foundation. After many years, Yun Yongzhu came to refine the marrow cleansing pill again. His cultivation had reached the foundation establishment realm. He not only possessed inner fire, but also practiced the 9-turn alchemy art. However, the success rate and quality of the marrow cleansing pill did not change much. According to the theory of elixirs, any elixir has impurities and elixir poison, whether it is a high-grade elixir or a low-grade elixir. In other words, this marrow cleansing pill also contains certain impurities and elixir poison. According to his understanding, if elixir poison and impurities are accumulated in the body after taking elixirs that increase cultivation or other elixirs, the marrow cleansing pill can also be taken to cleanse the meridians and marrow. If too much marrow cleansing pill is taken, and elixir poison and impurities are accumulated in the body, there is really no way to save it. This is also a major reason why Yun Yongzhu rarely refines and takes marrow cleansing pill. Of course, this kind of trouble is not something that most immortal cultivators will have, and only Yun Yongzhu will think about and worry about this useless problem. Yun Yongzhu stayed in his cave, meditating and practicing every day until 45 days later, when he received good news from Wang Yiming. Uncle Yun, the 8 mu of green blood grass and 2 mu of blood recovery grass have grown to a sufficient age and can be used as medicine. I will start harvesting them today. It will probably take some time. Do you want to go and have a look? Of course, let's go together. The two followed 3 low-level cultivators in the early stage of key training and went to the spiritual field not far outside the cave. These 3 people were all errant disciples of Qingshan sect. They were originally helpers in Piomio residence and were assigned by Guana to help in Yun Yongzhu's cave. They were all arranged by Wang Yiming to harvest spiritual herbs together. Otherwise, it would take at least a few days for Wang Yiming to harvest the 10 mu of spiritual fields alone. At this time, Wang Yiming had been with Yun Yongzhu for nearly 20 years and had been in Piomio Peak for nearly 7 years. He was not worried about being replaced by these errant disciples. On the way to the spiritual field, spiritual flowers of different colors could be seen everywhere, which were beautiful. Wang Yiming, have you sown a lot of spiritual flower seeds again? Yun Yongzhu noticed at a glance that there was an additional acre of spiritual flowers outside the cave. Uncle Yun, didn't you say you got a purple JB egg? Although it hasn't hatched yet, we should prepare it to avoid a fight between the purple JB and the soul-seeking butterfly. Yun Yongzhu didn't expect Wang Yiming to be so methodical now. He had already done things before he gave any instructions. He couldn't help but be very satisfied with him. Well done. Take these 2 bottles of key gathering pills, practice well, and advance to the late stage of key training as soon as possible. It was time to harvest the green blood grass and the blood recovery grass, so there was no need to wait until the harvest to give them. The reason why Wang Yiming wanted to stay with Yun Yongzhu and take care of the spiritual fields and spiritual fruit trees for Yun Yongzhu was to get more cultivation resources and to get Yun Yongzhu's help in his cultivation. He was overjoyed when he received the elixir. After carefully putting it away, he said excitedly, "Thank you, Uncle Yun. Don't worry, I will definitely help you take care of the spiritual field." Wang Yiming has been following Yun Yongzhu for nearly 20 years. Although he has obtained many elixirs and spiritual medicines from Yun Yongzhu, his contribution to Yun Yongzhu is also very great. If Wang Yiming hadn't helped Yun Yongzhu take care of the spiritual field and the yard, Yun Yongzhu could have taken care of it himself, but it would have taken up most of his time, and he would not have entered the foundation building stage so quickly. However, between the two, Wang Yiming must rely on Yun Yongzhu, while Yun Yongzhu can find other outer disciples or even inner disciples to help him take care of the spiritual field. The 3 low-level cultivators following behind the 2 saw this scene and couldn't help but envy Wang Yiming. After the 5 of them walked for a while, they saw a large area of sparse and orderly spiritual fields. Uncle Yun, look, the large area on the right is all green blood grass, and the one on the left is blood recovery grass. Yun Yongzhu looked at the large area of spiritual grass full of vitality, feeling happy. These are all his spiritual stones. Let's start with the green blood grass nearby. Wang Yiming, you can arrange them. Yun Yongzhu pointed to the young men following behind him and said to Wang Yiming. After that, he walked into the spiritual field with great interest and approached the green blood grass closest to him. Yun Yongzhu squatted down, flipped his hand, and a small jade hoe appeared in his palm. He held the jade hoe and carefully turned over the fertile spiritual soil. Yun Yongzhu was very careful, and the jade hoe did not hurt the roots of the green blood grass at all. In half a quarter of an hour, he dug out a complete green blood grass from the spiritual field. Although he was not a spiritual plant master, as an excellent alchemist, he certainly knew how to dig this green blood grass to preserve its medicinal properties. Yun Yongzhu took out a jade box and put the green blood grass aside, then started to dig the next one. He dug more than 10 plants in a row, and finally he felt the urge to harvest. When he stood up, Wang Yiming and the 3 low-level monks were already on the right track. Wang Yiming's movements were fast and steady. Although the other 3 were a little slower, they did not damage the roots of the green blood grass. Yun Yongzhu watched for a while and estimated that it would take 3 to 5 days for the 4 of them to collect all the spiritual medicines. Wang Yiming, have you prepared enough boxes? Seeing Wang Yiming nod, Yun Yongzhu continued, okay, then these spiritual medicines will be handed over to you. It doesn't matter if you are slow, don't damage the integrity of the spiritual medicine. If the appearance of the spiritual medicine is not good, it will not necessarily lose its efficacy, but its selling price will definitely be affected. Chapter 248, Jade Bee Hatches. Yun Yongzhu told Wang Yiming to harvest the spiritual herbs, and then he went back home. He was not worried that these people would hide the spiritual herbs. It was not to say whether these people had the courage or not. Even if they had the courage, they would not have the chance, because Yun Yongzhu knew the number of spiritual herbs. After returning to Loyan Palace, he went directly to his main courtyard, was Huju. On the way, he saw the gate of the spiritual fruit courtyard, and he could not help but stop and turn his footsteps to go in. Most of the spiritual fruit trees in the spiritual fruit courtyard were full of spiritual fruits at this time, and the fragrance of spiritual fruits was wafting all over the courtyard. Wang Yiming told him that after the green blood grass and the blood recovery grass were harvested, several kinds of spiritual fruits could be harvested soon. This is really a harvest season. Yun Yongzhu was intoxicated and took a deep breath of the fruit fragrance, thinking about how to deal with these spiritual fruits. They must be sold, but they cannot be sold all. Some must be reserved to give to the 2nd senior brother, the 3rd senior sister, Nangang Zenren, Nangang senior brother, Heo Zhao senior brother, Zhang Yumin senior brother, Liu Qian Qian and others. Although they were all first grade low grade spiritual fruits, they were not very helpful for their cultivation, but the gift was small, but the sentiment was great, so it was the most suitable way to keep in touch. Yun Yongzhu thought of his cave in Yunwu Mountain again, which was still bare. Then he went to the place with the most abundant spiritual energy in the spiritual fruit courtyard. This 5-element spiritual fruit tree has not changed much in the past 6 months, and it is still only a little more than 3 feet. It has been nearly 15 years, and the 5-element spiritual fruit is still like this. Yun Yongzhu is worried that Wang Yiming has not taken care of something. After all, Wang Yiming is just a low-level spiritual plant husband, and the 5-element spiritual fruit tree is a high-level spiritual plant. It is estimated that there is something he doesn't know. Thinking about it, Yun Yongzhu decided to take time to find someone to ask about the situation. In the next few days, Wang Yiming and his friends really went out early and came back late every day, harvesting green blood grass and blood recovery grass. 3 days later, when Yun Yongzhu was practicing the burning wood out in the practice room, he suddenly felt a throbbing in his heart. He exited his cultivation state, searched for the source of the throbbing, and entered a closed room. This room was the spirit beast room arranged by Yun Yongzhu, but before this, there was no spirit beast in the spirit beast room. The soul-seeking butterfly and the soul-devouring golden silkworm did not like this spirit beast room, so Yun Yongzhu usually raised them in the cave, and this spirit beast room was always vacant. This month, Yun Yongzhu put the purple jade bee eggs in it to hatch. This purple jade bee is worthy of being the offspring of the 2nd level purple jade bee queen. Even under the concentration of spiritual energy of the 2nd level spiritual vein, it took nearly 2 months before there were signs of hatching. Yun Yongzhu opened the jade box for hatching the purple jade bee in the spirit beast room, and saw a small thumb-sized purple jade egg covered with cracks. It's about to come out. He stared at the jade box covered with spiritual stone powder. At this time, Yun Yongzhu was so close that he could even feel the eagerness and anxiety coming from the jade egg, as if the purple jade bee larvae couldn't wait to come out, but was trapped in the small shell and couldn't move. "Come on, little guy, I'm waiting for you outside." Perhaps it felt the breath and encouragement of Yun Yongzhu, the contracted person, and the purple JB jade egg shook violently, changing from a vertical state to a horizontal state. The cracks in the jade egg became larger, and Yun Yongzhu had already seen a hint of purple inside the egg. Whether it is an adult or a larva, the color of the purple JB is always purple, like jade, which is also the origin of its name. The little life in the bee egg seemed to be tired, and it rested for a long time before continuing to destroy the shell that wrapped it. Yun Yongzhu was anxious watching from the side, and he wanted to open its shell and release the purple JB larvae. But he knew that, if he did this, even if the purple JB was a premature baby, it would be more difficult to advance in the future. The tiny larva of the purple JB struggled in the shell for nearly half an hour before it broke free. Seeing it come out, Yun Yongzhu couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief, but it also made him, the master, feel anxious. The larva of the purple JB was indeed purple all over, like a piece of flawless purple jade. Especially now, it had just broken out of the egg, and it had used up all its strength, and lay motionless in the jade box. If it weren't for its small body still rising and falling, Yun Yongzhu almost thought it was a small insect-shaped jade ornament. Yun Yongzhu took out a small jade box from the storage bag, and then took out a small jade spoon. He opened the lid of the jade box, which was filled with spiritual honey. This was the food for the 5-colored Zunling butterfly, the first-grade top-grade royal jelly. The sweet smell of spiritual honey drifted in the room, and the little thing in the jade box immediately became energetic. The front half of its body stood up, and its little mouth opened and closed in the direction of the jade box in Yun Yongzhu's hand. Feeling the desire of the purple jade bee larvae, Yun Yongzhu quickly scooped a small spoonful with a small jade spoon and handed it to the side of the jade box. The little bug in the center of the jade box immediately crawled to the side of the jade box, where the spiritual honey was, as if it had been cast into the summoning spell. It grabbed the small jade spoon, buried half of its head in the royal jelly, and ate it in big mouthfuls. In less than 5 breaths, it finished the small spoonful of spiritual honey. After eating and drinking, the little bug lay directly on the inside of the edge of the jade box, motionless. What a foodie. Yun Yongzhu remembered that the soul-eating golden silkworm and the soul-seeking butterfly under his hands all behaved like this when they hatched, and he couldn't help but smile. Since it's all purple, just call it Xiaozi. Yun Yongzhu placed his fingers on the small body of the purple jade bee larvae and rubbed it gently. Don't think it's fragile just because it's small. In fact, even an ordinary adult mortal wouldn't kill it if he squeezed it hard. The purple JB was already a first-class low-grade spiritual insect after it hatched. Once it grew its membrane wings, it could directly advance to become a first-class middle-grade spiritual insect. Yun Yongzhu wondered how many days it would take for the purple JB to be able to fly. He also had to prepare the spiritual honey it would need in the future, and plant a patch of spiritual flowers on the cloud and mist. Otherwise, if he was the only one feeding it, it would cost a lot of spiritual stones over a long period of time. Yun Yongzhu played with Xiaozi for a while, then covered the jade box and let it sleep. The purple JB could not find food on its own in the larval stage, and usually fell into a deep sleep. It would only wake up when it was eating, and ask the adult purple JB for spiritual honey. Xiaozi, of course, relied on Yun Yongzhu, the owner, to feed it. In order to feed the purple JB more conveniently, Yun Yongzhu took the jade box containing it and took it to his bedroom. The bedroom was close to the training room, and the spiritual energy inside was more abundant. In fact, the conditions were better than those in the spirit beast room. Chapter 249 Harvesting Spiritual Fruits. 3 days later, at noon, Yun Yongzhu was absorbing spiritual power in the practice room. Suddenly, he had an idea. He slowly pulled the spiritual power running in his meridians back to his danshan, and then stopped the practice, and stopped circulating the spiritual power. After 3 or 5 breaths, the thick white mist surrounding him gradually faded away. Yun Yongzhu opened his eyes, and his eyes flashed with brilliance. It was obvious that his cultivation had improved a lot. It had been 2 months since he last took the wood flame pill. Such a short time was certainly not enough to naturally eliminate the impurities contained in the low-grade wood flame pill. However, he took a low-grade cleansing marrow pill 10 days ago. With the help of this pill, Yun Yongzhu naturally did not have to worry about the pill poison and impurities accumulating in his body. In fact, after taking the cleansing marrow pill, he could continue to take pills to improve his cultivation, but Yun Yongzhu was a cautious person. To be safe, Yun Yongzhu only took a wood flame pill when he practiced this morning. It was still more refreshing to practice with pills. After each practice, he could clearly feel that his spiritual power had improved a lot. One wood flame pill can equal my 4 months of hard training, but it's a pity that the quality is only low grade. I still need to open more furnaces to improve the quality of the pills. Yun Yongzhu muttered to himself. He had made up his mind a long time ago that the pills that could increase his cultivation level must be of high grade. He could not refuse to use the middle and low grade second level spirit gathering pills he refined, and he used them all. Now taking this low grade wood flame pill was an exception. Yun Yongzhu refined a total of 5 wood flame pills of 2 kinds, all of which were of low grade quality. In order to test the efficacy of the 2 pills, he consumed 2 at that time. After taking the low grade marrow washing pill, the pill poison and impurities in his body were cleaned up. This morning, after he took a dark brown low grade wood flame pill, he only had 2 dark red low grade wood flame pills in his hand. The reason why Yun Yongzhu interrupted his training was because it was time to feed the purple jade bees again. The purple jade bees now have a meal of high grade spiritual honey every day, which is fed by Yun Yongzhu himself. He came up from the practice room to the bedroom. The purple jade bee was clinging to the edge of the jade box. Feeling Yun Yongzhu's breath, it twisted its chubby fleshy smooth body in joy. Yun Yongzhu could almost see that the purple jade bee's tail was swaying like a dog. It's coming soon. Why are you in such a hurry? I can't let you starve. Yun Yongzhu said as he walked towards the small jade box on the windowsill. He skillfully took out the jade box filled with spiritual honey and a small jade spoon, and then scooped a small spoonful for the purple jade bee to eat. The purple jade bee larvae grew very fast. In just 2 days, it grew from a little insect as thick as a little finger to the thickness of a thumb. It is estimated that in another 3 to 5 days, ZYOZ will be able to grow membrane wings. By then, it can go out to find food by itself, and Yun Yongzhu will no longer have to feed it every day. Soon the purple jade bee was full and lay on the jade box bed, quietly digesting the rich spiritual power contained in the royal jelly. Yun Yongzhu collected the spiritual honey and wanted to return to the practice room to continue practicing, but suddenly a white paper crane flew into his spiritual range. The paper crane flew to Yun Yongzhu's palm and turned into a spiritual light and disappeared. Yun Yongzhu's mind rang with Wang Yiming's voice. Uncle Yun, the green blood grass and the blood recovery grass have all been stored in the warehouse. There are 1,757 green blood grasses and 359 blood recovery grasses. Should we sell them all? In addition, the 6 kinds of first grade low grade spiritual fruits that mature in the spiritual fruit garden in the cave have matured 1 year. Should we start picking them now? Please give me your advice, Uncle Yun. Yun Yongzhu was delighted. He thought he would have to wait a few more days, but he didn't expect that the spiritual fruits could be harvested so soon. He took out a communication talisman, made a seal, injected a stream of spiritual power into it, and then said, Wang Yiming, collect all the spiritual fruits that can be harvested first, put them carefully in a container, and report to me after you have collected them all. Then he threw the communication talisman in his hand out of the window, and the communication talisman immediately turned into a spiritual light and flew to where Wang Yiming was. Then Yun Yongzhu left the cave, flew out of Piomio Peak, and headed for Lionhua Peak. Since the spiritual fruits are ripe, he should make some preparations. Yun Yongzhu planned to return to Yunwu Mountain after collecting all the spiritual fruits. According to his plan a long time ago, he wanted to accept the long-term mission of the sect to stay in Yunzhou after building his foundation, so that he could take care of his family while practicing. But now he is already a disciple of Jinden Zenran. As a direct disciple, Yun Yongzhu is not bound by a sect mission for several years. His master and mistress are practicing in seclusion again. No one cares about him, so of course he wants to stay in Yunwu Mountain. Now he is an excellent second level alchemist who can refine enough pills to assist his cultivation. His stay in Yunzhou will not affect his cultivation progress. Yun Yongzhu will not return to the sect in a short time after returning to Yunzhou this time, so he has to visit some friends and seniors in the sect. He bought many exquisite jade boxes and 10 sets of materials for refining the gathering spirit pill in the main hall of Lotus Peak. As soon as he returned to Piomio Peak, he began to refine the gathering spirit pill. The next afternoon, Wang Yiming sent a message saying that all the spiritual fruits had been collected and were being stored. Then Yun Yongzhu went to the warehouse yard of the cave residents. From a distance, he saw that there were more than a dozen disciples in the early stage of key training walking in rows at the gate of the yard, holding large square baskets in their hands, and the baskets were filled with wooden boxes and utensils. All the disciples saw Yun Yongzhu coming and stopped to salute him before continuing to do their own things. Before he entered the gate, he heard Wang Yiming's voice. "You all should be careful. These are all first grade, low quality spiritual fruits. If they are damaged, you can't afford to pay for them." Yun Yongzhu went in and saw that everyone was busy. He piled the large baskets in his hands in the corridor outside the warehouse, forming a long line. "Uncle Yun, you are here. These are the spiritual fruits that have just been picked. Take a look. They are of good quality and have a strong fruity fragrance." Wang Yiming found Yun Yongzhu entering the courtyard and hurriedly came out to greet him respectfully and led Yun Yongzhu to the corridor. Yun Yongzhu opened the top wooden box in a basket. Inside was a huge, tempting, yellow spiritual peach. "Is this a low-grade yellow jade peach?" he asked while picking up the spiritual peach in the wooden box. Without waiting for Wang Yiming's answer, he took a bite. The flesh of the yellow jade peach entered his mouth, and the peach fragrance filled the air. After chewing it twice, the peach juice and flesh raged in his mouth, and the sweet taste moistened his taste buds. This yellow spiritual peach is not small, estimated to weigh 1 kilogram, but Yun Yongzhu finished it in 3 or 5 bites. Yun Yongzhu smacked his lips, feeling that the taste was very good, so he opened another box. "Uncle Yun, this is the yellow jade peach, and this is the red jade peach." This time, a total of 6 first-level low-grade spiritual fruits were collected, including yellow jade peach, red jade peach, jasper peach, green jujube, pink jujube, and red heart grapefruit. Yun Yongzhu tasted the spiritual fruits that had just been picked while listening to Wang Yiming's detailed description of the spiritual fruits he had harvested. All these spiritual fruits add up to a total of 10,903. You just ate 5, so 6. Yun Yongzhu was happy to eat and listen, but also a little surprised. Can this first level low grade spiritual fruit tree produce so many spiritual fruits? Chapter 250 Gifts One by One. Uncle Master Yun, although these first level spiritual fruit trees planted on this second level upper grade spiritual vein are not very helpful for the improvement of the spiritual plant grade, they can greatly increase the number of fruits they produce. This is like a spiritual field that has no shortage of spiritual fertilizer, so the yield is high. So that's it. Yun Yongzhu finally understood the reason. Will these spiritual fruits produce so many spiritual fruits every year in the future? Uncle Master Yun, the fruits will only be more next time than this time. After all, this is the first time for the spiritual fruit trees to bear fruit. They were transplanted from Yuntai Peak to Piomio Peak before, which also caused some damage to them. In addition, among so many spiritual fruits, the largest proportion is actually spiritual dates, about 90% of which are green dates and pink dates. Yun Yongzhu was overjoyed after hearing this. He didn't think much about the larger number of spiritual dates. He had eaten both green dates and pink dates, and they tasted great. These spiritual fruits were only first level lower grade spiritual fruits, which were of little help to Yun Yongzhu's cultivation. However, after eating them, cultivators in the key training period could be equivalent to several hours or even days of hard practice. Therefore, the price of these first grade low grade spiritual fruits is not low. All these spiritual fruits added together are worth thousands of spiritual stones, and Yun Yongzhu couldn't help but be happy. Thinking that he would increase his income by thousands of spiritual stones every year in the future, Yun Yongzhu was very happy. With this happiness, He ate more than 10 spiritual fruits in succession, and tasted all the spiritual fruits several times. He thought that it was better to share happiness with others than to enjoy it alone. The low-level disciples in the courtyard were also busy for a few days. Wang Yiming, you can take 20 of these spiritual fruits for yourself, with no limit on the variety. All other disciples who do odd jobs in Lion Hall will also be rewarded with 2 spiritual dates each, and you will distribute them. Wang Yiming was overjoyed. He had long wanted to taste the taste of these spiritual fruits that he had cultivated for more than 10 years. He immediately thanked Yun Yongzhu happily, then turned around and clapped his hands, attracting the attention of all the disciples in the courtyard. Everyone, listen up. Uncle Yun just said that everyone worked very hard to harvest the spiritual fruits. He will reward everyone with 2 spiritual dates, 2 for each person. Why don't you thank Uncle Yun? All the errant disciples in the courtyard cheered and thought of Yun Yongzhu, the master of foundation building. They restrained their joy and thanked Yun Yongzhu. Thank you, Uncle Yun, for the reward. Thank you, Uncle Yun, for the reward. These errant disciples, in the final analysis, are not disciples of Kingshan sect at all, but just errants, so it is difficult for them to get ahead. On weekdays, Wang Yiming is a big shot to them, not to mention Yun Yongzhu, the direct disciple of the foundation building period. Seeing that everyone in the courtyard showed gratitude to him, Yun Yongzhu couldn't help but feel more satisfied with Wang Yiming. He also thought about this way of employing people for a long time. It is nothing more than rewards and punishments, and rewards and punishments are clear. What he is doing now is to reward. Wang Yiming understood this point, so he told everyone Yun Yongzhu's decision in front of Yun Yongzhu, pointing out Yun Yongzhu's satisfaction with everyone's work, and the spiritual fruit Yun Yongzhu rewarded. Wang Yiming said to the errant disciples in the courtyard, everyone remember to go to my courtyard, to collect the spiritual fruit tomorrow afternoon. Then he turned to ask Yun Yongzhu, Uncle Yun, when will these spiritual fruits and the previously collected green blood grass and blood recovery grass be sold? Should I go or you go? Yun Yongzhu thought that this was the first time to sell so many spiritual herbs and fruits, so it would be safer to go by himself. He could also negotiate future business and purchase some rare spiritual medicines and other items in Yunzhou. I'll go, you go with me, you'll be in charge of this from now on. Today, you move all the spiritual fruits into the warehouse, register them, and sell them in Qinggyan Market tomorrow. This Qinggyan Market is actually a small and a sect market like King Market, which is set up to facilitate the disciples in the sect to trade items. After all, although spiritual objects can be purchased in the sect's mission hall, most of the spiritual objects in the sect's mission hall are relatively precious, and many items can only be purchased with sect points. Because the area of Kingshan sect is so vast, there is such an inner sect market every 10 or dozens of spiritual peaks. After Yun Yongzhu gave the instructions, he took away hundreds of wooden boxes containing spiritual fruits. He returned to his yard, took out all the wooden boxes of spiritual fruits, and then took out all the hundreds of large and exquisite jade boxes that he had specially purchased. Yun Yongzhu carefully took out the spiritual fruits one by one and put them into the large jade box he bought as a gift box. A large gift box can hold 6 to 8 ordinary spiritual fruits. Among these spiritual fruits, the red pomelo is the largest, and 2 spiritual pomelos can fill a gift box. The spiritual peach is not small either, and 4 spiritual peaches can fill a gift box. The smallest is the spiritual date, and the green date and the pink date are about the same size, only the size of a baby's fist, and 8 of them can fill a gift box. Yun Yongzhu changed the containers for the spiritual fruits one by one until all the spiritual fruits were put in and all the gift boxes were filled. Then he sent 6 separate spiritual fruit gift boxes to his second senior brother Han Lin and third senior sister Mo Lina respectively. After sending them to the closest senior brothers and sisters, Yun Yongzhu then rushed to the direction of Yuntai Peak, where Song Jiayang, who entered the sect with him, was. After Yun Yongzhu moved into Piomio Peak, he did not lose contact with Song Jiayang and Wang Xina, but their relationship became much closer. It was just that during the period after he established his foundation, Song Jiayang and Wang Xina were stimulated and often practiced in seclusion. As for Wang Xina, she had just closed her door to build her foundation, so she couldn't come out for a short time. After sending Song Jiang off, Heo Zhao, Liu Kai and Qian, Ning Xianlin, Wang Shili and others followed. Early the next morning, Yun Yongzhu rushed to Wanggaiu Peak again. Wanggaiu Peak was where senior brother Nangang Li's cave was located. Since Yun Yongzhu had decided to stay in Yunzhou, he naturally had to chat with senior Nangang who had led him into the sect. Xiao Jiu, you are a rare guest. You have been building your foundation for so long, and you didn't even come to sit with me. The last time we met was half a year ago at Senior Uncle Gu's Golden Elixir ceremony. Come and try my Wanggaiu bitter tea. Yun Yongzhu took a sip of the Wanggaiu bitter tea, and the spiritual power contained in the tea entered his meridians, which made his eyes light up. Although the tea was bitter, it had a peculiar bitter fragrance in the bitterness, which made Yun Yongzhu linger on. I didn't expect this bitter tea to taste so good. It's really wonderful. The spiritual power contained in this Wanggaiu bitter tea is almost catching up with the Jiling pill. It's really good tea. This is a specialty of Wanggaiu Peak. There is a Wanggaiu spring on this spiritual peak. There is a spiritual tea tree that has grown for 1,000 years. This Wanggaiu bitter tea is made from its tender leaves. The output is very small. Xiao Jiu, if you like it, take 1 or 2 from me. There will be no more. How can I be so embarrassed? Yun Yongzhu pretended to refuse, and then shamelessly accepted 1 or 2 Wanggaiu bitter tea. He carefully put away the spiritual tea, and took out 50 jade boxes and a bottle of pills. I have some good stuff here too. I'm sending it to you today. These jade boxes contain the first batch of low-grade spiritual fruits from my spiritual fruit garden. Although they are not very useful for cultivation, they taste really good. You can try them. Without waiting for Nangang Li to open it for a closer look, Yun Yongzhu put the bottle of pills under his eyes. Brother Nangang, you can enjoy the spiritual fruits slowly. This is the highlight of today. These are 3 low-grade spirit gathering pills that I have recently refined. Spirit gathering pills. Before Yun Yongzhu finished speaking, Nangang Li was surprised that Yun Yongzhu could refine a 2nd grade spirit gathering pill not long after he established his foundation. Of course, you can check it out if you don't believe me. Yun Yongzhu made a gesture of invitation, and then calmly took another sip of Wanggaiu spirit tea. Nangang Li poured out a spirit gathering pill, and the room was immediately filled with a strong medicinal fragrance. He quickly poured the pill back into the jade bottle, fearing that the medicinal effect of the pill would be lost. I can't believe that you are the little fellow I brought back to the sect 19 years ago. Junior brother Yun, you have improved so fast. Not only in cultivation, but also in this wonderful alchemy. Nangang Li was full of emotion. In such a short time, Yun Yongzhu has already established his foundation. In another 10 or 10 years, decades, won't he surpass himself? It's all thanks to Master. It's been almost 20 years. What's the difference between 19 years and 20 years? There are not many fellow disciples in the sect who have established their foundation at the age of 30. Junior brother, why did you think of coming to me today and give me such a big gift? Yun Yongzhu told the truth. It's because Yunzhou is far away, and it may not be convenient to meet in the future, so I came to say goodbye to you. It just so happens that some of the spiritual fruit trees in my courtyard have matured, so I sent some over. You can take some to the younger generation of the family. The spiritual fruit was given to Nangang Li just to taste it. The reason why Yun Yongzhu gave him so many was so that he could reward his younger generation. Junior brother Yun, you are so thoughtful. Thank you. Although they were all 1st grade low grade spiritual fruits, not worth many spiritual stones, Yun Yongzhu could understand his intentions and felt very relieved. Besides, the 3 low grade spirit gathering pills were worth a lot. Yun Yongzhu actually didn't have much contact with Nangang Li in the past few years. As far as he knew, his master Huang Chengsheng was one of the top 3rd grade alchemists in the sect, so his status was naturally extraordinary. His master didn't like the struggle for power in the sect. He usually did alchemy and practice, and never took the initiative to cause trouble in the sect. Cultivators with other positions didn't have the courage to offend a 3rd grade alchemist, so he could live a very leisurely life in Piomio Peak. But the Nangang family was different. Their family participated in the struggle for power among the powerful elders in the sect and various rites in the sect. Because of his master, Yun Yongzhu did not have too much contact with disciples from other factions. Even in Yun Peak, he did not have the energy and time to play these political games. However, even though he did not contact Nangang Li frequently, the relationship between the two was relatively close. This was the result of Yun Yongzhu's many years of management. He did this mainly to maintain a relationship between his family and the Nangang family, and Yun Yongzhu did not have many close friends in the sect who could talk to him. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.